Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing, right?
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can usually catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com, but we're having some technical issues with our website this week, and it should be back to normal in a day or so, so check back maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we should be all back to normal. You want to call tonight and ask questions? You can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about the PBC. They had a huge boxing schedule, and it's pretty good. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. Roy Jones is having his farewell fight and where will he be fighting? On the UFC. I'll tell you more about this. This is interesting. Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker have already sold over 70,000 tickets. 70,000.
That's why I say he's the heavyweight king. Anybody wants to fight him, they have to go to the UK. Listen up, Deontay.
Insane. But first, we get started with the fight that absolutely nobody saw. Alexander Usyk versus Maurice Reedus for the unified WBC, WBO cruiserweight titles. Usyk beats Reedus in a razor-thin score of 114, majority decision 114, and then 115-113 twice. This was the biggest fight of the weekend, man. Both guys went at each other all night. The big difference here was Usyk's power. That being said, Reedus is no joke, man. He is a very skilled boxer, but it was Usyk, to me, that took control, had him backing up in the second half of the fight. I definitely want to see this one again after the tournament. I didn't give Reedus much of a chance in this fight, honestly, man, but wow, he surprised me. What a fight, man. What a fight. If you didn't see it, go to YouTube. I ended up watching like a Russian feed of it or something like that out there, but yeah, it's good. And one final note, the fight of the week, of course, was not shown on US TV. Richard Schaefer, you suck. Usyk will now meet the winner of Junior Dorticos versus Murat Gassiev. That fight takes place in Sochi, Russia next week. Of course, not on US TV, so we'll have to catch it on YouTube. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this fight?
You know, I didn't think Reedus had a chance, and I actually scored the fight a draw. I thought Reedus came out strong. He had like a modified version of a peekaboo a la Joe Frazier. Obviously not the same type of peekaboo that Joe Frazier employed, but had a high guard. He was kind of making it hard, I think, for Usyk to get that jab on track. I think that he would just lower his hands just enough and try to suck Usyk into counters, and then he would block it, parry. And then, in between the process of Usyk trying to follow up with the right hand, he would punch right in between the combinations. So, I was totally impressed with the composure of Reedus. And I thought early on the fight, I think he was actually pushing back Usyk, and he got his attention a few times with some shots. And he actually backed Usyk up. But both guys, I think, made adjustments. Now, Usyk was trying to pot shot from the outside. Reedus was kind of seeing everything, and then he was, catching shots, and then he was almost catching and shooting a lot. He would catch a shot, then take a half step in, kind of squat low, and then come over the top, come up, do some wraparound shots around Usyk, who also had a high guard. Had his gloves pinned to his face for most of the fight when he was on defense. But the big thing here was that Usyk really wasn't able to significantly hurt Reedus like we all thought and freeze him in his tracks. and kind of steamroll him, which is what I thought was going to happen. I got to give Reedus a lot more credit than I did beforehand, because leading up to this fight, I thought he stood no chance. And I think that, after watching this performance, you could even make an argument that he possibly won this fight. I know Davey Boy Essex had him winning this fight 115-113. So you can make an argument 115-113 either way, or 114-114. So this was a razor close decision for Usyk. And I don't want to take anything away from him, because I think he was making adjustments too, because he could not really do what he wanted to from the outside. What he would do is he would throw that little feint, then kind of step in halfway. And then he was, fighting more so in the mid-range area instead of trying to pot shot from the outside. He was actually shortening up the distance a little bit, trying to change the look a little bit, because Reedus was kind of seeing everything that was coming at him. He was countering well. He was punching in between shots, as I said. And, both of these guys put on an outstanding performance. This was a really entertaining fight. I think at the end of the day, when you assess this fight, you could say, either you liked the quantity over the quality, or you liked the quality over the quantity. And to explain that a little bit, I thought that maybe Usyk was a little bit busier, but I thought that Reedus, in my opinion, landed the more cleaner shots. And I thought, he varied up his attack a lot. And he did some excellent body work. Reedus tried to take that outside game away from him in Usyk. And he was doing very well in the mid-range area. But then I think that, as I said, Usyk started throwing feints, taking a little bit of mustard off the shots. And he was, instead of trying to go straight down the middle, he was trying to vary up the shots and throw looping shots and a little bit, throw some uppercuts in there. And he was mixing up the variety of punches more so, instead of just throwing the basic 1-2, which I thought he was trying to do too much of earlier in the fight. And I thought both of these guys put on an excellent performance. And this was an entertaining fight. And I hope they run it back. Because this is a fight, unfortunately, that most people were not able to see. Shout out to Davey Boy Essex, who sent me the fight, because I was, really entertained by this fight. I heard a lot about this fight on the internet. And, I'm so glad that we're able to talk about this fight, and I'm so glad that we were able to watch this fight. And unfortunately, as I said, a lot of people weren't, and that's a travesty, because this was the fight of the weekend. It was a lot better than that Golden Boy card, with all due respect. I just thought that Golden Boy card was very uneventful, and I thought that they better opponents for Matthysee and Linares, with all due respect. With that being said, this was the fight that should have been on HBO, not the card we saw last night.
Yeah, I agree, man. This was really good. And Reedus, like I said, man, he really surprised me. Really, really surprised me. Let's look to next week with the Junior Dorticos and Murat Gassiev. I would love to see Junior Dorticos win that fight, and I would love to see Usyk and Dorticos in the finals. I mean, that would be explosive, man.
That would. That really would be. That would be awesome.
Now, do either one of the guys fighting next week have a decent shot against Usyk, or is Usyk now going to be head and shoulders above either one of these two that are fighting next week?
I think it's funny, man. I tell you what, I mean, this is kind of like the NFL playoffs, or any playoffs. You get somebody in there who looks like the favorite early on, and the further you go into a tournament, the more resistance you encounter. And I think you're seeing that now, because really good guys are fighting really good. These were two champions fighting each other. I got to be honest, man. I think Usyk is probably the favorite, but man, I don't know. I have him to win. I picked Usyk to win the whole thing. I picked him and Eubank to win the whole thing before it even got started. Picked those two to win the whole thing. And but I think it's a toss-up, man. I think anybody can really take this thing home. I really do. B, what were your thoughts?
Well, I think that either guy could do it, but I don't know, man. I still think that you have to favor Usyk. I still think he's got the power. I still think he's the man right now. But he looked beatable. He looked like you know, he has some vulnerabilities. And even in the Michael Hunter fight, as Jason's mentioning in the chat, he didn't look invincible in that fight either. So I'm still going to ride with him to win the whole thing, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, no, not for sure, man. And Jason's in the chat, and he wants to know, he said that he talked about if Ward came back, and Ward came back at a cruiserweight level, which there is some rumors that he is coming back. He's training for something. Looks like he's putting on muscle or whatever. If he comes back, I don't think he comes back for cruiserweight, honestly. If he comes back, I would think it would be at heavyweight because there's nothing at cruiserweight. You know what I mean? There's nothing really there for him. So it's not like it's a glamour division. So I don't know. But if he were to bulk up and fight Usyk, who would you favor in that? I would still favor Ward in that just because I've never seen him lose. So until I see him lose, I don't know that he can,
But how would Andre Ward do at heavyweight? I mean, be realistic. I don't see him beating a real big, large heavyweight. Maybe him and Tony Bellew would be a decent fight.
Right.
But him fighting one of the big guys, I don't know.
I don't either. But I mean, you think about it, like where does he go? I mean, if he does come back, I mean, Beeb, you're a fan of his and you follow him, but what do you think? I mean, what is he planning for? I mean, is it a cruiserweight, comeback? Is he planning for a comeback at all? Is he just trolling everybody, or what's the story?
Well, the thing is this: he tweeted out that he's planning something big, and then he's also tweeted out, and I think on another occasion, that he was weighing it at 199 pounds.
Yeah.
He said, I weighed 199 this morning. So I don't know if this is a move. I would suspect that maybe it could be cruiserweight, but it also could be heavyweight. I think a Joseph Parker fight would have been great for him. That would have been a great.
There's
I
no
think Parker
cruiserweight though. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing there for him at cruiserweight. No money whatsoever.
Well, he got $5 million to fight Sergey Kovalev, and I think because of who he's with,
good luck getting.
They're gonna. Yeah, they could. I'm not saying I'll get $5 million there, but I don't know. Maybe you could be right. Maybe he just circumvents cruiserweight and goes right to heavyweight. I don't know. But one thing I could say about Usyk, whether you're critical of him or not, I mean, that right jab of his is like a telephone pole. And I think that's what really controlled the fight in the second half, because I think he started stepping on the gas in the second half of that fight with Reedus. And, he was just really, really dictating the pace with that right jab. And it was opening up everything for him. So you could say what you want. I thought he was the bigger, stronger guy. But that's not to say that he's not a technical guy either. I was so impressed with both of these guys, but he looked like he was falling behind. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. After 6, I had him down 4-2.
He really turned it on, though. He really turned it on at the second half of that fight.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, he knew that he could not, pot shot from the outside, so he started to step forward a little bit and shorten it up, and
made the adjustments.
And he was making adjustments. The way he was kind of saying to himself, okay, I'm not going to beat him from the outside because he's timing me. So let me throw that little feint in there. Let me slide in a little bit and then change the range a little bit and make this a mid-range more. Deal with him more so in the mid-range, because that way, I could get to him closer. I could loop instead of having to throw my straight left. I could throw a looping left because in the mid-range area, I'm going to make contact with them. As you can't throw a looping punch from the outside, you're not going to be able to do that. So I love the fact that he just said to himself, you know what, I can't win this fight on the outside. I'm gonna go out of my comfort zone a little bit and maybe go into this guy's comfort zone, because he's the smaller guy. He's the guy with the shorter reach. He's probably not the perceived. I thought that Usyk was the big strong guy. But I think that Reedus, showed us that he could hang with them. He could take the shots, and he could actually land shots and get Usyk's attention. I just love the fact that this guy showed a lot of intelligence and a lot of versatility, and he changed it up.
Yeah,
he changed it up.
Yeah,
and that's what really won him the fight, I think, or made him have a good second half, because whatever, he just could not do the same thing that he was doing in the first half of the fight and expect to win. And that's a page out of Andre Ward's book. So Andre Ward, being the chess player that he is, he'd be going in there with another chess player, but a chess player who's big and who's powerful, And even in the Michael Hunter fight, I thought that Michael Hunter had a little bit of success early on, but Usyk, I think, figures you out, and I think he can do more than one thing, and he's going to kind of lay it all out there on the table, and he's going to try different things, and he's going to figure out which one works, and because of the versatility, he's going to be able to dig into that bag of tricks and find something that works, and he'll be successful with it. So he's a tall task for anyone, not just because he's a big, strong guy and a powerful guy, but because he's a very intelligent and very versatile fighter.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move ahead here. Let's talk about the HBO fights. I'd much rather not, but I guess we have to. Lucas Matthysee versus Tewa Kiram. There was a lot of late money coming in on Kiram in this fight. I saw people actually picking him to win, but that's not the way it went down, man. Matthysee beat Kiram in the 8th round via KO. I think he had him down twice, didn't he? He had him down twice. He hit one on the top of the his right hand on the top of the temple. It was the first one to put him down. The last one that knocked him out was a left jab, or just I think that was more of a straight left than a left jab. I don't know. I guess they're both kind of the same. A lot of people thought Kiram had a chance because he was bigger, man. But like we always say, there's levels to this thing, man. Here's the deal. Everybody that was picking Kiram, I guarantee, did not see him fight. Because if you would have watched this guy fight, there's no way you would have picked him. None. And just the fact that they were picking him lets you know where Matthysee is in his career. He's on the down, man. He's about a court low. Anybody with any kind of class is going to beat this guy. He's done. So I don't know, man. Robert, you saw this fight. What were your thoughts?
Unfortunately, I saw these fights. Yes, I did. Oscar, thank you for pulling a page out of the Al Heyman book, because these fights were absolutely disgusting. Look, I like the Machine. The Machine had a wonderful career, but God, it's over. It's over. I know you're probably going to get one more fight against a Manny Pacquiao or somebody like that, and you don't deserve it. Number one, if you wanted to fight with Pacquiao or Crawford or somebody like that, you needed to come out and prove that you had something left. God, that was an awful performance, and I feel bad for the over 6,000 people that actually paid money to show up at this fight. This was pathetic. I don't think he should fight anymore, but he probably will. And God help us. If the real Lucas Matthysee doesn't have anything left, whoever he steps in against, it's going to be a disaster. Sorry, Lucas, but you're probably going to lose your next and last fight. Although I don't think you deserve any more fights, frankly.
Joel Lopez is asking in the chat that Matthysee looked that bad. What were your thoughts, Robert?
Yes, he looked pathetic.
Beeb,
you know how to break down fights? Help me out here. Does Lucas Matthysee have anything left? I don't think so.
It's funny because and again, this is not a bodybuilding contest. This is not a, who has the best physique. But I just looked at Matthysee, and he looked like a guy who just looked kind of smoothed out a little bit, whereas before he's lean, he's ripped. And I'm questioning myself because he's only about 5'6.5". He's not really a big guy. He's got short arms. Is he coming up to this 147-pound division because he can't make 140 anymore, or is he doing it because he wants to end his career making some money? Because obviously the 147-pound division is a division where there's a lot of big names up there, and obviously if he can get a fight with Pacquiao, that would be a decent payday for him, And I don't think that would actually be a bad fight, given where Pacquiao is at in his career. I would still favor Pacquiao to win because of the speed and everything. But, Matthysee can still crack. I got to say one thing. His jab last night was almost like a straight right. You could see the impact it had against Kiram. And Kiram, I didn't know much about him, but I found out a lot last night. And with all due respect, what I did find out was, as you said, not to be a parrot, but yeah, there is levels to this. There is levels to this, and he was several levels below Matthysee. And obviously this is an entry-level fight for Matthysee into the 147-pound division. But we knew this was going to be a showcase fight. I didn't expect much from Kiram, but I had people messaging me on Twitter and people adding me on Twitter saying that Kiram was a live dog, and I didn't see it, but you know what? Follow your heart, people. If you feel it, then go for it. Because there's been times I've felt it. I've taken shots. Sometimes it pans out. Sometimes it doesn't. So I didn't see it, but there was late money going on. As I think we talked about it earlier, he opened up at an 8-1. He went all the way down to a 5-1, which is still kind of out of the a significant shot. Like I said last week, anything out of 4-1, it's kind of a stretch. But the fact that it tightened up that much late, I don't think people have much faith in Matthysee anymore. And he didn't light the world on fire last night. He was kind of looking for the perfect shot. Didn't look fluid, looked flat. So you have to ask yourself again, is this the optimum weight for him? Number one, and number two, is he on the decline? Which I suspect he is. When I looked at him in that Victor Postal fight, it looked like the fire eyes. Once he realized that he couldn't do anything with Postal, he seemed to kind of mentally submit in there. And we saw him against the Provodnikov fight, which I had him winning 115, 113. We saw him in the Danny Garcia fight. Both those fights, he was faced with adversity, and he hung in there, and he gritted his teeth. And those fights were competitive, no matter what you want to say. Those were pretty close fights, even though I thought he lost. He won the Provodnikov one narrowly, and I thought that he lost the Danny Garcia one narrowly. So he didn't show that same fire against Postal, and he really didn't show that same fire in this fight, because until he decided to step on the gas and get this kid out of there, the fire wasn't in his eyes. Because the Matthysee that I know and love probably would have taken this guy out of there, in about maybe 3 or 4 rounds. Would have never went 8. So with that being said, I hope he gets a couple big money fights, but I don't think that there's much left for this guy. I don't see him dominating this 147-pound division. I don't see him being a player in this 147-pound division. And if he could get a fight with Pacquiao, if he could get a fight with someone else that, I don't know who else he could really fight that would be a big money fight for him, because he's got to get in line here. He's got to get in line, because Keith Thurman's not going to really bang down the doors to fight this guy. Errol Spence, could he be a opponent for Errol Spence? I don't see it. So maybe he'll get that Pacquiao fight. That'll be the end of it. Maybe he can go off into the sunset with a big payday. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know.
The scary part about this, guys, with him winning this WBA regular title, he becomes the mandatory in the WBA for Keith Thurman.
Yeah,
if I'm Keith Thurman, I'm looking at this guy and I'm going, God, this is an easy payday. I can take this dude out.
I don't think that fight's going to happen. Not with Heyman and Golden Boy.
I don't either, but
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Thank God that's not going to happen. Yeah, he didn't look good. But given that fact, he knocked Kiram out. So how did Kiram look in that fight? He looked awful too.
Well, we'll never see Kiram on US TV again. He's not Rung-Visai. I think people took the Rung-Visai thing into consideration, and that's why they betted a lot of money on him. There's only one Rung-Visai, and this kid didn't have it.
Well,
go back to Thailand and see you later.
Wow.
He was a big guy. He had a decent amount of knockouts. He was undefeated. maybe people are saying to themselves, maybe there's something about this guy that we don't know. Maybe this guy's a diamond in the rough. Who knows? Or the thing is we just saw Lucas Matthysee, and we saw how bad he's looked in recent years, in recent fights. And people probably said to themselves, you know what? It's not that this guy's good. It's maybe this is not the old Lucas Matthysee. So it wasn't like they had a lot of faith in Moran. They just didn't have much faith in Matthysee. But that, again, there's levels, and just because a guy isn't what he once was, if a guy was a top level fighter, he's going to lose a little bit. But the thing is he's going to lose it all. Like even Pacquiao being on the downside, he still almost knocked out Jeff Horn. You know what I mean? Like he's still not a club fighter, so to speak. So we can't relegate Lucas Matthysee to club fighter status just yet. So he's not going to beat the top level guys, but he could beat a lot of bottom top 10 guys, I would still suspect.
Yeah. Beeb, you're the odds guy here. Let's touch on this real quick. We're not talking, he moved down from an 8-1 to a 4-1 or 5. Was it 5-1? I believe it was
5-1.
5-1.
8-1 to a 5-1. How much money does it take just to shift a line like a half a point? Isn't it like we're not talking like 50 grand. We're not talking like, 20 grand or 50 grand. We're talking like millions. Yeah.
It depends because, not all casinos will have the same lines, but most of them will have a comparable line.
Sure.
But yeah, let's just say this, several $100,000 would have to probably go down on someone for the line. That shifted 3 points.
To shift it 3 points,
that's a lot. In a short period of time like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of late money coming in.
A couple $100,000 at least. I'm not going to say millions. Let's just say a couple $100,000.
At the very least. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess it depends on how many people are actually betting on the fight as well. So
yeah.
All right, but still a lot of money to move a line. That's a lot of money. So, all right, let's talk about Mercito Gesta versus Jorge Linares in a fight sponsored by Ambient. Jorge Linares defeated Mercito Gesta by unanimous decision, 118-110 twice and 117-111. I think it's shocking that HBO actually put this card on TV. I was not looking forward to it, honestly, man. From the time it was announced, I said this is a lousy card. Golden Boy's got to start getting it together, man. They're not putting on quality stuff, to be honest. Speaking of Jorge Linares, Bob Arum has stated that Vasyl Lomachenko's next fight will be at 135. The target seems to be Jorge Linares. I can tell you right now that's not a competitive fight. Unless Linares brings a gun into the ring, there's no way he's beating Lomachenko. None. Robert, what did you think of Linares Gesta?
Look, Jorge Linares did what he had to do, but again, he didn't look great either. And hey, Bob Arum may be 86 years old, but he sees a weak titleist, and he's going to have his cash cow jump all over it. He's going to get a nice payday, but he's going to come home empty-handed because that belt is going to be wrapped around the waist of Vasyl Lomachenko. And you know what? I got to question Mikey Garcia here. Linares has called out Garcia for I don't know how many fights now, and for whatever reason, Mikey Garcia doesn't want to fight him. But after that performance last night, if I'm Mikey, I sign on the dotted line because whether you're Vasyl Lomachenko or Mikey Garcia, that's a title that you can wrap around your waist. And Mikey Garcia to play around at 140 when he's still a 135 champion, either defend your title or lose it or drop it. Because God, Linares Lomachenko, it'll be over with quickly. Good luck. You're going to get a nice payday, but you're not going to keep your belt.
Yeah, I don't think Garcia comes back down to 135, honestly. I mean, if he's going to fight at 140, he goes up to 140. Why come back down? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, then get rid of your title.
Right. I mean, but like I said, 140, there's the money fights are going to be the higher you go. So why come down?
Yep,
and
exactly.
The Linares fight looks like it's going to be taken here in a matter of weeks, it looks like. So,
Yep.
you know, Garcia just kind of let that one go by. Beeb, what were your thoughts on Linares Gesta?
You know, the thing about Linares is as good as he is, he's just never been that durable. And I don't think he's not in shape because people will say he fades. I think he fades later in fights. I think in the Luke Campbell fight, I think Luke Campbell really poured it on. And the thing is Linares, you know, he gets hit and he gets cut a lot. And, you know, I think that because he endures damage, I don't think he deals with enduring damage well. And that kind of saps his energy a little bit. I think that he's an excellent, excellent fighter. But I think it sounds crazy to say this, but he may be entering the stages of being shop-worn a bit. You know what I'm saying? I think he's got one foot in that door of being shop-worn. He's entering that stage. It's like they have stages of diseases, whatever. I don't want to be too over the top with this and be blunt, but he's got the early stages, in my opinion, of being shop-worn because of some of the tough fights he's been in. You know, even that DeMarco fight, he was bleeding like a sieve, and I just don't think the body can take that. You know what I mean? Some guys, you know, they get hit, they deal with punishment better than others. Some guys have better recuperative powers. This guy, I just think that's his one Achilles heel, is just his durability and just being able to up to punishment from other fighters, because Masita Gesta really isn't a world beater, but he had some moments. He's not supposed to have moments. He's not supposed to land shots and push you back. He's not supposed to cut you. He's not supposed to do some of the things he did in there. And then I think that is more of a product of we're seeing Linares kind of slipping a little bit. And for Garcia to not want Linares right now, because you have to ask yourself, how much is he up at 140 for Garcia? What is a big money? Like, how much is he getting for Lipinets? Like, not that I'm counting another guy's pocket, but I have to kind of, you know, think about the motive for him not wanting to fight at 135 as opposed to him going up to 140. I know these guys like to weight jump now because I think Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya and fighters of that era kind of set the bar where in order to become a Hall of Fame fighter, you have to weight jump and you have to have multiple titles, multiple weight divisions. So I have no problem with that. I'm not always sure that's the best route, but I'd rather see a guy clean out a division first and then start moving up. But I think that a fight with Lomachenko, I think a fight with Linares, those are two big money fights. I think a fight maybe with a Flanagan over in the UK, those could be some big money events. What's a big money event for him up at 140? I just think the biggest money fight at 140 for him was Adrian Broner, and Adrian Broner is not really even a 140 pounder. So that's the thing. Like, what is up there for him at 140? And he's not really a big guy anyway, so I don't think he'll have problems making 135. He's about this, you know, he's not that much. If you really think about it, he's really not that much bigger than Lomachenko. Lomachenko's 5'6", he's 5'7". That neither guy is an overly big guy. I would love to see him fight Lomachenko. I'd like to see him fight Linares first, but it looks like Lomachenko may get Linares first. So they have a unification fight in his next fight after this Lipinets fight. I think it'd be huge. I think it'd be a really good move for him. So I'm a fan. Well, and
Beeb,
I'm hopeful. Let me finish, Robbie. Wow, let me finish my point.
Sorry.
So right. I'm more of a fan of having him beat Lipinets and then go down and have a unification fight at 135 because he hasn't been stripped yet.
Robert?
Yeah, no, like I started to say, I don't know if you read this week, but Flanagan has moved up to 140, Beeb, so he even gave it up staying at 135. He moved up to 140 also, so we'll see what happens with that.
There you go. All right, let's talk about the final fight here. Zab Judah, your boy, versus Noel Rincon. Judah defeated Rincon by unanimous decision, 99-91 on all three scorecards. I got to be honest. Hopefully he's close to calling it a career. No reason to fight these type of fights. He's got a promising career in the medical field. I guess he's what did you say he was, a CNA or something like that, or some kind of
CNA? Yeah, he's a CNA.
Yeah.
That's big, man. That's close to being an RN. Hopefully he goes to be an RN or whatever. I mean, he's got a future there. Man, he's had a good run, man. There's no reason to keep going on like this. Unless, like I said, man, he needs the money or something like that. I mean, whatever, but I don't want to see him like this, man. He's do you think he's a Hall of Famer? You think Judah's a Hall of Famer?
I would vote him in. I would. He unified the welterweight title. He was a junior welterweight champion. He fought all the big names. I would vote him in.
Yeah,
I would vote him in.
I might vote him in.
I would vote him in. Multiple weight champion, unified a division, fought in a decent era, fought the best of the best.
Better than Arturo Gatti.
Better than Arturo Gatti.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your measuring stick right there. If they put Gatti in, that's your bar. That's your bar right there.
I still can't believe that.
Yeah, that's your bar right there, son. They put Gatti in, that's your bar. All right. Let's go to our fight schedule this week, the upcoming fights. Robert, February 2nd. That's Friday, yeah?
Yep.
All right. From Sloan, Iowa, on Showtime, Ronald Ellis versus Junior Yonan, 10 rounds super middleweights, and Wellington Romero versus Samuel Tia, 8 rounds junior welterweights. And I'm assuming that's got to be a showbox card. On February 3rd, from Corpus Christi, Texas, on ESPN, Saturday, Gilberto Zerdo Ramirez versus Habib Ahmed, 12 rounds for Ramirez's WBO super middleweight title, and Yerwin Anakajas versus Israel Gonzalez, 12 rounds for Anakajas IBF junior bantamweight title. I've said it over and over again. If you have not seen Yerwin Anakajas, you need to tune in and watch him. I've been watching this guy for a long, long time. He's the next guy. I'm telling you, he's a very, very good fighter, man. So just check him out. Gilberto Ramirez is a really good fighter as well. Brings a lot of power, brings a lot of boxing ability. So we'd like to see that. Also on Saturday from BN Sports, Robert's favorite station from Monterrey, Mexico, my old stomping grounds. Guadalupe Martinez versus Irma Garcia, 10 rounds for Martinez's WBC female junior bantamweight title. So there you go. If you want to see some women's boxing, it's there for you. From Sochi, Russia, available absolutely nowhere in the United States. Murat Garcia versus Junior Dorticos, 12 rounds for the IBF WBA cruiserweight. How about that? Cruiserweight unification, the World Boxing Series semifinals. There you go. There's a pretty good card from London that I think will probably be on Box Nation. If I had to guess, I'm sure it would be on Box Nation. Lawrence Akoli versus Isaac Chamberlain, 10 rounds cruiserweights. Akoli's a pretty good prospect, right, Beeb?
Yeah, he is a decent prospect. Still he's got some ways to go, but early showings of him are promising. No question about that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Ted Cheeseman is on there versus Carson Jones. That should be a good one. 10 rounds, junior middleweights. Let's see if there's anybody else we recognize on here. Paul Butler will be on the card. Joshua Buatsi versus Joseph Jordan, 6 rounds light heavyweights. We saw Buatsi. I think, who did he fight last? I don't know. I can't remember. I think he was knocked out, but I don't know. I don't know that for sure. February 4th on BN Sports also. That's a Sunday. Diego Higa versus Moises Fuentes, 12 rounds for Higa's WBC flyweight title. And let's see here. Anything coming a week after that? Yeah, let's see. All right. So that's the action this weekend. What do you got about Dorticos fight?
Say that one more time.
Dorticos fight.
I don't know. What do you think? You think
Dorticos and Gassiev? I tell you, Dorticos has got that power. God,
I don't know too much about Dorticos. That's why, you know what I'm saying?
That Cuban.
I know Gassiev, but I don't know Dorticos. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know. I would think I would just say Garcia because I know more about him. That's the thing. Like I know Usyk, I know Garcia, I know Reedus. I don't know Dorticas too much.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Beeb. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, Robin made that point about Terry Flanagan, and I guess his next fight is for the vacant WBO super lightweight title against Maurice Hooker on April 14th. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So he still could unify after he beats Lipinets and, take the he could still unify at 140 if he wanted to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that Garcia fight though. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I like Dorticos, man. I'm going to pull for Dorticos because I want to see Dorticos and Usyk fight. I think that would just be a really crowd.
And you're saying Dorticos is a heavy hitter.
Oh yeah, he can hit. He can bang.
So you've seen him fight. You've seen him fight.
I wish we could see these things on our TV, man.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I wish we could too. I really do.
I don't know if I can spell that guy's name. I don't know. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to. How we would be able to Google him. I can't even spell his name.
Let me ask you a question now. Will we be able to get that on Cody? If you have a Cody box, will you be able to pick up the WBSS? I know
possibly.
The one I caught was on a Russian station, and I picked that up on Cody.
Possibly.
We can pick that up on Cody. I picked it up on YouTube last night.
Yeah.
But I know you can get it on Cody. So yeah, if you have a Cody box, I'm sure you could. Yeah.
I know.
Or if you have Davey Boyes.
George Groves and Chris Eubank are going to fight, and I'm sure the Sky Sports or Box Nation will be all over that. But again, that's another fight we're not going to get to see in the U.S.
Yeah, I'm sure all these are in England and they could see them. I mean,
yeah.
When you saw it, hey B, when you saw it, what was it? The English broadcast?
Yeah. That African American gentleman, the tall guy. He does a pretty good job. He actually, it's crazy because he'll commentate. He's almost like Max Kellerman. He'll comment. They only have like two guys doing it.
Yeah.
I want to.
Is it Nelson? Johnny Nelson?
No. It's another guy. He's a British guy. He's tall, thin. He's kind of looks like the guy on Showtime, the bald guy on Showtime. What's that guy's name on Showtime that does the commentary? Not what's his name there? The guy at Showtime there.
Laurel Ranello, are you?
No, the black guy on Showtime with the bald head.
What's his name? Brian Custer.
He looks like Brian Custer, but just taller. You know what I'm saying? He's really good. But I saw it. Davey Boy gave me the fight. It was the English broadcasters. Yeah.
Is he back to doing fights now?
He gave me it. He broke down and gave it to me because he asked me, "Who do you think won the fight?" And I didn't get a chance to see it.
Right.
So he gave it to me. Shout out to him, and I was glad he did give it to me because I didn't know the fight was out there anyway.
I had to watch it in Russian. I had the Russian feed of it, so
I watched it. I had the UK broadcast. Yeah.
KGB knocking on my door later. All right. Let's go to our news and rumors section, and we're going to go to the phones. PBC adds a monster schedule. Let me run this down for you because it's actually pretty good, man. So, Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios on February 17th. Not the greatest fight, but Benavidez and Gavril 2 is going to be on the undercard there. WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. The Garcia-Rios is a WBC title eliminator. Now, on March 3rd, Deontay Wilder versus Louis Ortiz. That's the WBC Championship. That should be pretty good. I don't know who to pick in that one. I really don't. Jamal Charlo will be on there versus Santino Jr. for the WBC Interim Middleweight Championship also. March 10th, Mikey Garcia versus Sergey Lipinets and Rancis Bartholomew versus Kiro Relic 2. That's on the undercard. That'll be in San Antonio. April 7th, this is a really good one. I can't wait for this one. Arislandi Lara versus Jarrett Hurd.
Oh, wow.
It's a unification fight, 154 pounds. Man, I tell you what, I like Lara in this one, but I don't think it's I'm not a big fan of Hurd, but he can punch. He's a good fighter. He's not bad. He's got the stamina. He might be there for a while. April 21st, Titletown Zone, Adrian Broner returns against Omar Figueroa. I think that's a good fight. I think that's a
I do too.
Fight, man. That's not an easy fight for either guy.
Can't even get a line for it yet either.
No. And it's
I can't believe there's no line for it yet.
Yeah, that's a good fight, man. That is a really good fight. Gervonta Davis will also be on that undercard. No opponent has been named yet, though. May 19th, Keith Thurman is back in Brooklyn, but we don't know who he's fighting. And I read too that the Brawner fight's going to be in Brooklyn, I believe. I think it's going to be in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. May 19th,
rumor has it'll be Jesse Vargas against Thurman.
It's not. I don't think it's going to be Jesse Vargas.
I heard it's not too. I heard that was just a false
99% certain it's not going to be Jesse Vargas.
All right.
I know that was speculated, but I don't think it's going to be Jesse Vargas. I think it's going to be some ham and egg somewhere.
Oh, okay.
May 19th, Adonis Stevenson versus Badu Jack. That's another one I can't wait to see. That's in Canada. WBC Light Heavyweight Championship, man. I love Badu Jack, friend of the show. Adonis Stevenson on his way out, man. But gosh, he's a one-dimensional fighter, but what a dimension he's got, man, with that big oh man, I can't wait for that one.
Hey, Jack, do us all a favor. Take that title, will you?
He's got a big shot. Badu Jack's got a big shot too, but we know that Badu Jack can be hit, so it should be good. Jack should win, but man, I'll tell you what, who knows, man? You never count out Superman, He fights once a year, so he should keep himself pretty fresh, June 9th, Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Morris 2. Not really interested in that one. We saw it already. Jermell Charlo will be on there on that card as well. And June 16th, Errol Spence will fight in Dallas, and we don't know who his opponent's going to be, but he will fight again June 16th. Pretty good card. Gary Russell is in play for somewhere in here. I'm reading that Gary Russell is in play. They haven't placed him yet, but we got 6 months worth of schedule here. They think that he's going to be somewhere on there. So there you go. And Beeb, what are your thoughts on this schedule?
I like the schedule.
Pretty good, right? Yeah.
Some of the fights, as you would say, quote unquote, are squash matches, but there's a lot of good ones mixed in there, and that's why I can't complain. As long as not every fight can be a great fight. You know what I mean? And as long as you mix in a few good ones in there, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy with that.
Yeah, I'm good. Robert,
I can't complain at all.
Overall, I think it's a decent schedule. It'll be interesting to see who they put in the ring with Thurman. Now, the rumor I hear about Earl Spence, it'll be his IBF mandatory, and I can't pronounce the guy's name, but that's what I've heard that's going to be. But overall, I think they've done a decent job, and it's the first time that I've ever heard of in the sport of boxing where a network will basically call a news conference and say, oh, here's the next 6 months, here's the schedule we're putting together. And what you didn't mention in that schedule is, they have the Joshua fight, but the reason why that wasn't listed on the actual schedule is because this is the one fight where HBO and Showtime can bid against one another to see who gets the Joshua Parker fight. My feeling is it'll probably go to Showtime, and this will end Joshua's deal with Showtime. Regardless of what happens after this fight, his contract with Showtime is over. They have to renegotiate a new deal. So it'll be interesting to see what direction that goes in, whether Eddie Hearn, since Eddie Hearn has moved most of his stuff over to HBO, it'll be interesting to see if Joshua ends up going over there. And rumor has it, if Joshua stays with Showtime, he'll fight Wilder. If he ends up going to HBO, he's going to end up fighting Tyson Fury later on this year.
There it is. And Carlos Ocampo is the mandatory for Errol Spence.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
So Carlos
Then
Ocampo
that's
is the
what's
mandatory
supposed to
for
be.
Errol Spence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Got no choice.
Yeah. Adrian Broner making a switch in trainers. Adrian Broner will be making the switch to Kevin Cunningham as his head trainer for his next fight against Omar Figueroa. It sounds like Mike Stafford will still be in the corner, but just not in a head trainer role. Cunningham was in the corner for the Mikey Garcia loss, but I don't know what to make of this, man. I think he needs to find a new trainer, but was Cunningham the guy? I don't know. We'll see. It's completely plausible that it doesn't matter who you put in front of Bronner. I mean, he is who he is. I don't know that he listens to anybody at this point in his career. And Keith Thurman, big disappointment here. Keith Thurman says he will not fight Errol Spence this year. He says he basically needs 2 tune-up fights, then we'll fight Spence. Thurman is going to fight in May, but no idea who the opponent's going to be.
I don't agree with that, Keith, but okay.
Yeah, right? I mean, what are you doing here? What are you doing? All right, we're going to go to the phones, and we got a lot of people online, so just kind of be courteous. We're not going to put a time limit on you or whatever, but we're getting more and more calls, so just kind of be courteous, kind of make your point, and then we'll go forward. And this is the one everybody waits for, Mr. PBC. .706, you're live.
Shouldn't you be playing the PBC theme song this week since they just put the fucking boxing game in the chokehold?
This is the best entrance music ever.
Eric, shouldn't you be playing the PBC theme song?
No, I don't think so. I like this one better.
What do you mean?
I like the baby crying better.
Why wouldn't I defend PBC after the schedule they just put out? I didn't know they were going to put out such a good schedule. Otherwise, I would have defended them even more.
We defended it too. We liked it.
I mean, shit. I mean, I wouldn't defend PBC if they were putting on fights like Linares and Lucas versus the guys. I don't even remember their names. I watched both those fights last night. I keep forgetting their names.
We didn't defend them either.
We did say, Jason, it was an awful card, and like I said, we pick on anybody when they put on bad cards. Oscar did a horrible job last night.
That's like a monthly thing with them. I mean, it was Cotto versus Kamagai. That was a horrible card.
We called it.
I mean, Cotto versus Ali, I guess it was okay because it was an upset, but
I called that one. I thought that was a horrible fight too. I mean, it turned out to be a good fight.
But hey, you guys missed a couple of fights. You guys missed Charlo versus Centeno. I think that's a decent fight. He's moving up in weight. Centeno hits hard. He just knocked out Aleem cold, so I don't think that's a bad fight. What do you guys think?
I think Charlo washes him. I think Charlo washes
him.
Yeah,
but I don't. Do you think it's a bad? Do you think it's a bad fight, or do you think it's a pretty decent fight for his first fight moving up?
I think he's going to get rid of him quickly. So I don't know how good of a fight
it's a showcase. I mean, that's a showcase fight.
I don't think it lasts very long.
The only fight that I really dislike on the schedule is Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios. But I'm glad Brandon Rios is getting a payday. But I like Brandon Rios.
I was going to mention that before Manning and Alvarado was about to be announced. I would agree. But don't you think Danny versus Rios is more competitive than Manning versus Alvarado? What do you think?
No, I think it's the same fight.
Yeah,
I think it's about the same fight.
But did you see Danny? Did you see Brandon Rios at the upfront of Showtime? That guy, I haven't seen him look in that good shape in years. Have you seen him?
I will concede he looks lean. I've never seen him that lean before a fight. And he's back at Robert Garcia.
8 pounds off the weight limit, and he's never had him that fucking close. And
never.
I mean, that's good news.
Yeah. So if the one thing we can hope for turns out to be a kind of a slugfest, because Danny Garcia sometimes will engage in slugfests he feels as though he can take advantage of. If he goes into this fight thinking he can take advantage of Rios, then this fight could turn into a slugfest. So we'll see.
Speaking of Danny taking advantage, I haven't seen Lucas show like really fucking a lot of heart since Danny took his fucking heart that night in Floyd versus Canelo card. I haven't seen Lucas look great ever since that night. I mean, he didn't look good against Post Hall. I didn't think he looked particularly good against him. I mean, he beat him, but Taylor's like a small 140 pounder. And yeah, last night he looked.
The last fight I've seen Lucas Matthysee look decent in was John Molina, because John Molina was on his level.
John Molina fucking almost got him out of there like 1 or 2 times. Like he looked hard.
Well, that's why it was voted fight of the year that it happened, because there were 5 knockdowns in the fight.
Yeah, John Molina was bloody as hell. He had Lucas was hitting him behind the head. He had gashes behind his head, like literally on top of his head, like huge gashes.
No, but seriously, I know everybody's talked about Alvarado and Pacquiao. God, if that fight is officially made,
at least Segback announced that a month ago, and I tried to tell people, nobody really believed me. I said it on Boxing Scene, and I said, I don't know if I said it on your show, but nobody believed me.
No.
If that fight is officially announced, God, save your money.
Yeah, right.
Of course it's announced. I mean, he just had 3 wins. That's Bob Arum's blueprint. You were saying Oscar is learning things from Heyman. Oscar has learned everything he knows from Arum. So let's keep it real, Robbie. He didn't learn anything from Heyman. It's the other way around.
Hey, Robert, let me ask you.
Robert, I can't defend Robert last night. That was awful.
Robert, let me ask you a question here. As far as the new PBC schedule goes, Beeb said his favorite fight on there was a Garcia Rios fight, which, I'm not a big fan of,
not your least favorite.
No,
right.
No, it's my least favorite.
Wow.
That's my least favorite fight.
Oh, your least favorite. What is your favorite fight?
Yeah.
Beeb?
Wilder versus Ortiz.
Yeah, I think that's mine too.
My favorite.
I think that one was Erslandy versus Hurd.
Yeah, what I did say was the only fight I have a problem with was the Rios. That I really had a problem with was the Rios versus Garcia. That's what I said.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Robert, what about you?
Wouldn't you put that on Danny Garcia? Since you know Danny loves cherry picking these kind of opponents. I mean, I'm sure he's the one who picked that opponent.
Hey, Robert, who's your favorite on this schedule here?
I have to go with Laura and Hurd. I think that's going to be more interesting than what people think. I think Ortiz Wilder. I think that'll be an early knockout for Wilder. I don't think Ortiz Wilder is going to be competitive at all. But I think the best fight out of this schedule so far is going to be Hurd and Laura, because with Santa Cruz and Maurice, we've already seen that. Why do we need to see it again? That's a good fight, but we already seen what happened the first time. I don't think things going to change the second time around.
Robbie.
Yeah.
Didn't we see Manny versus Bradley 3 times on pay-per-view from Bob Arum?
Yeah. And we should have only seen 2 of those fights.
At least this is on Showtime, and this was an action fight. Well, this fight was way better than Manny versus Bradley, and so I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And I was gonna say Broner versus Figueroa is a 50-50 fight too, to me at least.
100%. That's a 50 fight.
Wilder Ortiz is probably.
Definitely a 50-50 fight.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I agreed with you. I said
Figueroa's had drinking problems and weight problems just like Broner, but people don't talk about that because he's not in the public eye like Broner. But he was fat as hell for the past 2 years.
Well, he's not in H&M stores shouting out, "Let me get a one of those monkey shirts." Yeah. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, he lays low in Texas, I guess. He just sits home and drinks, I guess. But that were the rumors. But what else? Did you miss any other fights, or did you tell all of them?
We went over all of them. Yeah, we listed all of them.
Oh no, Eric read the whole schedule.
You would have liked that.
Gary Russell was going to fight another tune-up.
I don't know. I would imagine, because he's been out for so long, he'd fight another tune-up. I don't expect him to fight anybody relevant. Put it that way. He's been out for a long time, but I think I think you have to kind of give him that pass because he's been out for so long.
Well, he's another one that never defends his title. I don't know what's up with him.
I think hasn't he been injured and stuff like that? I mean, I thought he was injured.
He always talks about retiring. Like he says, "I'm going to retire this year. I'm going to retire next year." He's always talking about retiring too. I don't think he really likes boxing and shit.
He might not be.
I don't know. I don't know if he's injured or not, but my God, he never defends his title.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see. He's an amazing fighter, man.
Hey, you guys were saying Ward is going to come back at heavyweight. I think that's a bad decision, man. I mean, B was saying Parker, but Parker is fucking that guy is fucking huge, compared to Ward. I mean, Usyk would be the perfect fight for Ward. And you guys were saying there's not enough money, but if Ward fought Usyk, he would make him a big name. Because Usyk's fight didn't get picked up because his opponent, nobody gives a fuck about Usyk or his opponent. But if he was going to fight Ward, I have a feeling Showtime would be able to pay him $2 million. Since they have such an increased budget because of the Mayweather versus Conor fight. They have $30-40 million extra to play with. So I don't think it's out of the possibility. What do you think, Beeb?
Yeah, I don't think it would be a a crappy payday. I don't think Ward's ever going to get a bad payday at this stage of his career. I think he's established himself. And another thing too is if Usyk does win the tournament, would Ward be willing to go over there and fight in a big stadium and get outside his comfort zone? Because I think that would make the fight really big if he was to go over there. But who knows? I mean,
Usyk, where does Usyk fight? Where is he from?
What is it? Ukraine, maybe? Is it Ukraine?
I think he's Ukrainian.
Yeah,
they're like fighting on the road. They're not really fighting in hometowns. They're fighting on the road.
Yeah, it was in. Where was the fight last night? That was in Reedus' hometown?
That was in Latvia. Yeah, that was in France.
And next week, Garcia, they're fighting in Russia, so that's his hometown. But then the finals are going to be in Abu Dhabi or something like that.
That fight would be in Vegas. That fight would be in Vegas or maybe California. I don't think it would be in overseas. Probably not. Right?
Going by Ward's history, it probably would not be overseas. No.
Right.
But I would like to see it overseas.
That's really what this tournament needed, is somebody like an Andre Ward or a big named guy. You know what I mean? To bring it. And I think don't get me wrong, I love the tournament. And as a fan, I'll always watch this, But I think that's what they needed, is like a big name to draw people in. And right now, like I said, Usyk's not really a big name, and Eubank Jr. is a big name over in England, but he's not necessarily a big name over here,
No.
So,
man, watching that Reedus guy jab Usyk to the stomach, and he doesn't even hit as hard as Ward. I don't think if Ward was like punching him to the stomach from round one, he would be huffing and puffing after 4 or 5, and that overhand right would come. We all know that. I mean, that's what I see happening to Usyk if he ever fought Ward, because I saw Michael Hunter coming off a year layoff, and he was having success for maybe like 4 or 5 rounds against
he was.
Michael Hunter, like a sparring partner pretty much. And I just happened to see that fight, and I still remember it somehow. And I was like, why is HBO pushing him so much when he should have fucking stopped that guy with ease? And so, I just see Ward winning. I hope he does come back to fight this guy, because this guy is they're hyping him up like he's a pound for pound or something. And I don't know why. And also, Jim Lampley gave an interview last night. They were asking him, what do you think about Loma moving up to 35? He was like, why does he have to move up to 35? Why does he have to move up to prove his greatness? Don't you guys remember what these guys used to say about Floyd and Ward moving up? Didn't HBO like almost force Ward to move up and fight Kovalev? And this guy's saying now Lomachenko doesn't really need to move to 35?
Yeah, well, I heard his next fight. I heard Aram said his next fight will be at 135. And that they're targeting Linares. They
and I'm just saying, Lampley's like, why does he even need to move at 35? Why does he need to do that? What's so big deal? Why does he need to do that? And I was like, these are the same guys they used to tell Ford to move up if he really wants to be great and do the same thing to Ward. And I was just kind of fucking put off by that.
Yeah, I think
anyways, that's my call, guys.
There's not a lot of competition, man. There's not a lot of competition. Thanks, where he's at. All right, man. Thank you, sir. We're going to have to get Jason some PBC music. He's a good caller, man. We have to give him some PBC music. We'll have to take the baby off. Maybe in a couple of weeks. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll have to find that Hans Zimmer thing that they started in the beginning. We'll give them that horrible piece of music.
Yeah, that horrible piece of music. What is wrong with you?
Yep.
Robert, killing them, boy. Just killing people tonight. 760. I think this is California, yeah? 760.
Yeah.
You're live.
Hello, hey, what's going on, guys? This is Brian.
Hey Brian, what's up?
Brian, what's good, Brian?
Not much.
Hey, man, that fight was garbage. That Matthysee fight last night. What happened with that fight? Was it rigged or what?
No. Like Eric said, the whole card was sponsored by Ambien. It was a good sleeping pill. That's why it was boxing after dark.
You said sleeping pill. I was asleep. Like, I was literally asleep, and then the knockout happened, and I said, what happened? And it still had me wondering what happened. But, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was a tough one to watch.
In my opinion, Matthyssee's done, but he's gonna get served up to somebody, and he'll go out on a platter, but not the kind he wants.
Yeah, he's gonna get ate by the Sharks eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, PBC, it looked like they got was that Showtime or what lineup was that? Showtime?
That's Showtime, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty nice that they did that right there. That was tight. I liked it. I like the whole matchups. I like all of them because everybody fighting. But as far as 50-50 fights, I think I would have to give it to Laura and Hurd.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the best. I think that's the best fighter on the whole schedule, man. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's the 50-50 fight. I think Wilder and Ortiz, that's still a 50-50 fight, but I think Laura and Hurd, that's the 50. That's a coin toss right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's gonna be. That's a.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Hey, so you think Wilder gonna knock Ortiz out? Yes. Easy.
I think it will be.
I don't know, man.
And then hopefully enough people, you know, support him to get that big fight with Joshua, because Joshua's saying that he don't even want to fight in the U.S. or he don't have to fight in the U.S. I think he do.
Well, Brian, look at the ticket sales in the UK. They've already sold 70,000 seats for Joseph Parker. It's proven. Whoever Anthony Joshua fights, look at his past opponents. He fought Charles Martin, sold out a big arena in the UK. He fought Dominic Brazil, sold out a big arena in the UK. Fought Eric Molina, sold out a big arena in the UK. We all know what Klitschko can sell anywhere. And then he fought Carlos Ducom, sold out a big arena. Now you're doing the same thing with Joseph Parker. As long as people over there are going to sell out his fights, he really doesn't have to go anywhere else. If Deontay Wilder wants that fight, he's got to punch his passport and go to London and fight in Wembley Stadium, because otherwise Joshua does not have to. You know,
I think he's, you know, he probably will. I think he will, you know, but as far as me saying, because he got them ticket sales, you know, agreeing with him, I don't agree with him, because it depends on what he's trying to be in the sport, because he said he's trying to be great, and that's what they do. They travel and they go beat somebody up in the backyard. You know, this is what all the great fighters do. So it depends on what he's doing, because you're right. He don't have to come over here. He don't have to fight Wilder. He can fight nobody's over there and sell out, you know, for the rest of his career. But what does that mean to us? It means nothing. Not to me, anyway. I mean, I like him, but
I agree with you, Brian. But I agree with you. But I think in the negotiating point, when these two guys sit down at the negotiating table, Wilder's going to have to realize, even though he is the WBC champion, if Joshua ends up beating Joseph Parker, which I think he will, Joshua's going to have 3 belts. He's going to have all the other belts except for the one Wilder has. And Deontay Wilder has to realize that he's got no negotiating stance. He's going to beat Ortiz, but it's going to be in front of, 10 or 11,000 people. Wilder, in the box office sense, cannot compete with Anthony Joshua. Wilder does not sell out big places.
Yeah.
But I still want to see the fight, man.
Definitely. But, you're definitely right, because if he do beat Parker, then that's 3 belts, and he can pretty much do whatever he wants. He might even be the face of boxing, you know. But
if you look at it realistically, Brian. Now, granted, Joshua's got the advantage because the UK has a lot of big places where they can sell out these kind of fights. But Joshua, let's face it, Joshua can be the face of boxing, because he can even outdo Canelo as far as ticket sales. I mean, Canelo. Canelo sold out the Alamo Dome. He sold out Cowboy Stadium. But, for most of Canelo's fights recently, they've been in Vegas. So, Joshua has been able to go to different spots in the UK and constantly sell these fights out. So, I think Joshua is taking over the #1 money-making spot in boxing as far as ticket sales go.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So that's why I say he don't even have to fight Wilder. He can fight anybody and just sell, because, that's the name of the game. It's still a business. So, I just wish it could be in the U.S., though,
Hey, I feel you, buddy. It would be nice to see it here, but you got to look at it at the financial aspects, and I don't think there's any stadium here in the U.S. that could even compete with what he's doing over there. I mean, the only stadium that would be big enough would be the Big House in Michigan, which holds 110,000 seats. But I don't see any boxing promoter contacting the University of Michigan saying, "Can we use your stadium for a fight?"
Well, I don't see it filling up.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other thing.
If they do fight, let me ask you guys, even though you guys have said like who you think would win, who would you guys go for?
Joshua. I like Joshua a lot. Man.
Yeah, Joshua.
You would? Yeah. You said Joshua.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
America's not always with me.
You guys would go for Joshua?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's kind of the face of the sport, to be honest with you. I think he can, and I just think, honestly, he's just better skilled. He's a better fighter all around, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, my only question as far as Joshua is concerned, he needs to quit gaining weight because each fight he's come in heavier and heavier. He needs to start being lighter because when he fought against Akam, he was like 255 pounds, and I think that's too big for him. He needs to come in like 240, 245, somewhere around there and look in better shape.
Yeah, he getting juiced up.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think
But yeah, man. Hey, I'll let you guys go. I know you got a lot of calls and everything. Hey, thanks for letting me talk and everything.
Oh, of course.
Hey,
man.
good call,
anytime,
Brian, and
man,
call back
sure.
again.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Good deal. All right. Very good call, man. And I know you guys were talking about Joshua Wilder, man. Let's not forget, look, Joshua Ortiz, Joshua Wilder. Listen, if Deontay Wilder doesn't look good, like impressive, and knock Ortiz out cold, let me tell you what, the longer that fight goes, and if he's exposed in any way, that 50-50 goes way down. That 50-50, he's got to go in there and look impressive.
Eric, I don't think it will ever be 50-50.
I don't either.
Because of what I just pointed out.
Right, I don't either, but my point is, he says 50-50. And he goes in there and he shows something like that, it's going to be, it's not good, man. That's for sure. Not going to be good.
That's right.
508-508, you are live.
This day, you'll be my new fool.
What's happening, people? What's going on?
Georgie.
What's up, Georgie?
Listen, let me get that Robbie before I forget, Robbie.
Yes.
I need you to do me a favor, brother.
Okay.
Please, don't you ever again, from this point forward, say the words, they don't want to fight him. That's a myth.
Now, Georgie, who are you talking about?
Anybody. But we're going to make an example. We got to make a sample out of the welterweight division. It's abundantly clear by anybody who has followed boxing for a little bit, you don't even have to be a hardcore, that these goddamn mafias always put these schedules on top of each other. They make sure that the schedule don't line up. So we say, oh, but DSG is busy now with Rios. That's why he can fight such and such.
Well, okay, if you're going to use the welterweight for an example, why does Keith Thurman come out and say, I'm not going to fight Spence, I need at least 2 tune-ups?
Because this is the will of the mafias, baby. That's what I'm saying. All this shit is designed. They're following orders. This is all a script. Script the fuck out.
So are you calling? Wait a minute. Are you calling Al Heyman the Mafia Don, and he's controlling what happens in this division?
La Cosa Nostra, baby. That's his last name, La Cosa Nostra. Listen, brother.
So when does Al Heyman start knocking people off then?
Listen, all these people, they will be fucking fishing out of the same pond. The WBC Mafia and all of them, they all make these schedules. And that. So when I heard somebody talking about, oh, such and such is darkened, or some shit like that. They don't want to fight him. Baby, you playing yourself. We can't do this no more. We're doing this shit to ourselves, B. We're fooling ourselves. These shits are designed this way so these people's schedule fucking get fucked up and they look busy that they cannot fight each other.
Okay, do you like any... Another question would be, Jorge, do you like any of the fights that's on the schedule that we just announced?
Well, on PBC, like everybody say that Lara Hurt, that would be the best out of the bunch, because that's something that nobody can really say what the outcome is. I will give Lara a little, if it's not 50-50, I will give Lara a little push, because, you know, he's more technical, he moves really well, and her get punched fucking on his face every fucking 2 seconds. So it's only about going forward. And because Lara don't really have it on him to put motherfuckers out, probably going to make all 12 round decision. And that will favor Lara. So, but besides that, nothing else is competitive. What else is competitive?
Okay, all right.
And nothing that competitive. You already say Ortiz going to get knocked the fuck out.
Yes, he is.
The old man, you know, is on his way out. So, I mean, so I don't want to listen. I'm boycotting all the welterweight fights. Until these people don't fight each other, I ain't watching none of that shit. I don't care who throwing down. If it ain't Porter versus DSG or fucking Arrow versus fucking Porter, one of those fucking 4 top names, Crawford. Some, you know what I'm saying? Some of the top motherfucking divas out there, if they not throwing down, what you watching it for? For what? Do these people a favor? Man, fuck that. I'm watching none of that. Yo, B, back me up, baby. You cannot quiet there. Take my side.
I'm gonna kind of piggyback off what you're saying, because the thing is this, from what we've been told, and again, this is what we've been told, Al Heyman gives these guys 3 names, and they're basically instructed pick one of the 3 names. So obviously, if we're going by what we're being told and what history has told us with Al Heyman, you know, he's given them a choice. So, you know, he's, as I said before, he's complicit in this. So I blame him just as much as I blame the fighter, if not probably more, because he is the manager. And the thing is obviously he's a manager, but now he has PBC. And PBC is, you know, as being the guy that has created PBC, he's in charge of putting fights together now. So a promoter's job is different from a manager's job. A manager's job is to get the best deal possible for his fighter. The greatest reward for the lowest amount of risk. A promoter's job is not that. A promoter's job is to put on the best fight possible for the fans. And in turn, he makes the most money because the event is big, it's popular, it's successful, and people want to see it. So Al Heyman has never made that transition. You know, he's had that same mentality ever since PBC started. And, you know, I think that he has given us good fights, but at the end of the day, he is the guy that puts these fights together for the most part. And the fighter just goes along for the ride. Now, the fighter could say, yeah, you know what? I want a tougher fight. I want this fight. I want that fight. But at the end of the day, it's like anything else. Boss is going to tell you, hey, I'll pay you a lot of money if you work 4 hours as if you work 8 hours. And most people are going to take the 4 hours. So he is complicit in this. Yes, I agree.
B, but you know what I mean? Because, I mean, if the fighters say, you know what, I'm not going to do it, they get blackballed.
Well, Beeb,
they could.
Beeb, the one guy that's been asking for a tough fight but hasn't been able to get it is Earl Spence. So what blame do you put on Al Heyman for that? Is he not listening? Is Al Heyman not listening to? Is Al Heyman not listening to Earl Spence or what?
Listen, Robbie, time out, baby. We cannot put fucking Arrow out of no blame up in this bitch. He's on it too. Try to make him the good guy here. You know who the good guy is? Mikey Garcia. That's a good guy. happens to be, look at this shit, happens to be that the independent dude, the dude who don't have affiliation with nobody, he's the one calling the names out.
Well, yeah, but he's not taking the fights, Georgie.
But where's that money? Give this man his money. How the fuck you think these motherfuckers more money than Mikey? Why? Because they with you? Come on now. This is the same okie doke, same shit, played out. Come on, man.
Mikey's not taking any fights, Georgie. I mean, Lipinets is handed to him on a silver platter.
Yeah, but that's not money there, B. You got to put like something big for Mikey. Listen, Mikey took 2 years retirement out of his fucking career fighting these goddamn mafias. Everybody's on Boo Boo too, saying that Boo Boo ain't fighting nobody. Boo Boo haven't fought nobody for fucking ages. But whose fault is it? Is it Boo Boo too? That's another dude who fucking getting cock blocked. That's what happened when these people don't follow schedule. Boom, they cock block this shit. They make you look bad. Yeah, you ain't taking the fight, but what the fuck you offering? Where's the money at? But you can give it to your boys, but with the guys who really deserve the fucking chance to make that money, get denied. Why? Because they not signed with you. This is the same okie doke, and here we are saying no, they don't want to fight. But why? Who is it that don't want to fight, and for what reason? That never gets explained. And all roads leads to Rome, to the same fucking mafia, the same bullshit. Everybody out there definitely boycott the welterweight division. What the hell's gonna be against Carlos? Arrow versus Carlos. Beeb, you fuck with the odds. What the hell's gonna be on that?
On the Carlos Ocampo fight, it's gonna be huge for Errol Spence. Yeah, and he's the #1 contender.
Yeah,
and,
well, we've never heard of the Campo.
Yeah,
That's
he's the
what I'm
#1
saying.
contender. Yeah.
So, listen, how come that fight, that so-called FBI mandatory, what's in your schedule before the fucking Le Mans Pearson?
I don't know.
They plan that shit like that. They plan it. So why? Because they see, okay, we put fucking Le Mans first. When we come out with the mandatory, we say it's a mandatory, so error looks good. And we cannot complain about it. That's the mentality. And people, what they do, they follow the bullshit. Oh, yeah, it's a mandatory, so his hands is forced. He can do nothing. They could have scheduled that shit before and get rid of that shit. And then we wouldn't have the mismatch with Le Mans. You know, the heat would be a lot greater. But they know how to fucking do this shit.
Well, here,
You see all these fucking throws.
let me break this down.
People docking, man.
Let me break this down for you here. The 1 and 2 for the IBF are not rated, so there's nobody there. Carlos Ocampo is the mandatory #1, being ranked #3 because there's nobody at the top spot, so he automatically moves up. Konstantin Ponomarev is #4. Lamont Peterson, who he just beat, #5. #6, Bradley Skeet out of the UK. I don't know who #7 is. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. #8, Keita Obera. There's Rashidi Ellis, #10. Yeah, I mean, there's
Jesus
nobody.
Christ, stop,
there's nobody there.
Eric, stop. I'm going to puke, Eric. I'm going to puke. Stop. Listen. When Brooke fought Arrow, right? I mean, when Brooke fought Sean Porter, what belt they fought for?
BC.
The IBF.
Was it the IBF?
IBF, yeah.
Okay.
And what the fuck? Listen, what the fuck did the IBF did after Porter fucking lost? He wasn't even on the rank.
Yeah, and he's still not listed.
From the list.
And he's still not listed.
Right after the fight. Not even ranked. I never seen that shit. What the fuck is that? So, I mean, when you're talking about who's in the fucking #1, #2 in the IBF, man, how the fuck that shit got any credibility? The rank is supposed to tell you who the fuck is the next second best guy. Know who the fuck is putting the money in their pockets. And it's so much who they put in the money in their pockets that they say make no fucking sense. The so-called rankings, what we're talking about here. Come on, Eric. We can't defend these mafias any longer, bro. 2018 got to be the year. We had a good year in 2017, but 2018 got to be the year that we fucking break off of this shit. Boycott this shit. Boycott them, all of them, until these fucking divas don't fight each other. Don't see none of them. Fuck them all. That's sad but true. Motherfucker gotta die. We gotta go Kylo Ren, the last Jedi, let everything die. The rebel, the Sith, the Jedi, everything. Kill it all.
What am I going to do with my Saturday nights if I can't watch boxing? Shit.
Georgie, you're a bright little ray of sunshine, let me tell you.
Gotta get a hobby. Gotta start crocheting.
Come on, people, man. Come on, man. I'm
have to start crocheting.
Gotta get real up in here. We're gonna show these fucking mismatches. All these, yo. But listen, Thurman said that he needs 2 tune-up fights. That is counting the Porter fight and the DSG fight. I bet he's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he talking about 2 tune-ups, right?
2.
He ain't saying DSG is a tune-up, or he ain't saying
No.
Porter's a tune-up.
No.
So what we talking about? 2020 Arrow versus fucking Spence? I mean, versus Thurman? That shit getting pushed the fuck over there, way the fuck down the line. I'm probably not gonna be alive when that shit happens.
Yeah, Thurman doesn't want to fight him. There's nothing you can do. Nothing. You can't make it mandatory. He doesn't want
my
to fight
advice
him.
to him and fighters: if you're not getting the fighters the fights you want, you leave.
Yeah.
Listen, these people gotta listen. Eventually, somebody gonna come out with this multimedia shit and this internet shit, and it's gonna guide the fan base. I don't know who's gonna be, but I hope I see on my lifetime. One day they're gonna take the power away from these mafias, B. One day somebody come and fucking unify the fan base and get against this cocksucker so we can get the. Listen, people work there 40, 60 hours just to go home and watch some fucking fights. They pay the $300 fucking cable bill just to watch some fights. And on top of that, they want more and more and postponing and want to keep on milking it. Come on, man. That mentality gotta end. That shit gotta end. Anyways, I don't want to be, raging too much here against the machine, but...
Well, hey, you did a good job. You did a good job. And you can rage against the machine because, after all, the machine showed last night he's broken.
Yo, that was some bullshit. That dude took a dive there, man.
He didn't take a dive. He just wasn't a good fighter.
Oh, my God, with a bullshit jab.
He just wasn't a good fighter, man. He's not a good fighter. He wasn't a good fighter, man.
Nope.
And like I said, man.
But this is what we get. Look, and why he grabbed a so-called WBA World Championship.
Yeah.
A belt.
Well, that just
come on, man.
Georgie, that just makes him the #1 contender for Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman's not to fight him either.
#1 contender in this WBA, Robbie. What are you talking about? We know this.
Well, like I've said on this show numerous times, the WBA is fucking idiots.
Huh?
Like I've said numerous times, the WBA are fucking idiots.
Yeah, but then how could you come here saying that they're mandatory? You're giving credit where credit's not due. We can't
that's what the fight last night meant, for whatever it means.
Yeah, but we cannot be calling this shit like, oh, he's the WBA champ. Listen, man, you getting fooled, you getting bamboozled by the fucking mafia once again. Once again, the rhetoric gotta change. Gotta change. You can't be you with the hamster in the fucking wheel, going nowhere. Spending all this yen in this fucking hamster wheel, going nowhere. They rocking niggas to sleep.
Georgie's all fired up tonight. That's good.
He's full of vinegar tonight.
Baby, but how much can we take? The whole PBC. Tell me what fights competitive from the PBC line.
Lara and Hurd,
that's the only
Wilder,
thing
Ortiz.
That's a little puzzle there.
Wilder and Ortiz
Everything
is competitive.
else we can pick the fucking winners.
That's the case, Bowe, in most fights, though, don't you think?
Yep.
No.
That's the case in most fights. Well, I mean, we always
this is the thing, Eric. You already been fucking like institutionalized, like you're in jail. You don't know what they already got you brainwashed. You already don't want to fight it no more. People used to play video games, and you used to make it to the end of the fucking video game without spending another dollar after you pay the video game. Now you gotta play the packets and the hackets and the wackets, and nobody knows who the fuck is the best in the world playing video games because motherfucking paying the way there. Nobody.
I don't know if anybody will ever cut this call. This is great.
Dude, but this is it. In generations of gamers, they used to this shit already. So there's already inbred on their brain that they gotta spend more money to do something that you're supposed to do through skills and marriage. But here we are, once again in the fucking hamster wheel. Jesus Christ.
Hey, way to go, Georgie. Way to go, Georgie.
I want everybody out there to support and give these people a thumb up because they don't ask for anything, and that's what we love, you guys.
We appreciate it, man.
All right, good call, man.
Thank you, Georgie. Good call, man. Good call. All right, let's go to 805. 805. Maybe you're going to be live here. Give me a minute. Hey. 805, you're live. Yes.
Hello, Nacho.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Nacho, what's up?
Not much. Listen, I was actually at the card last night. The thing is, you guys were right. Maybe the two HBO fights itself weren't all that great, but the off-TV stuff was actually not bad at all. There was some pretty competitive fights that they had on the card off TV. Mm-hmm. The problem is most people didn't get to see them unless you knew that Ring TV was streaming the fights on their website yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And those fights were actually pretty entertaining, and they were relatively competitive. So, as far as the actual fights last night, I thought Linares did what he had to do. He won, and maybe he didn't look as great as he should have, but he got the job done against a guy who, I have to give Hesta credit. He took a beating because he got hit with plenty of hard shots, and he ate them, and he never once was wobbled or stumbled or anything. And as far as the Matthysee fight, I agree that Matthysee didn't look all that great because the crowd was actually booing him for the first probably 5-6 rounds of that fight because him and Kiram didn't really do anything. It looked like a glorified sparring session until the very end when he hit him with those jabs and dropped him, which I still can't believe that's an actual knockout. Like, I don't know what the hell happened there, but that was awful. After watching the replay on television, I still can't believe that was an actual knockout. Like, that was just completely awful. But Matthysee definitely needs some more fights at 47 in order to prove that he's a legit contender. Because at this point, I'm not sure I would pick him to beat anybody else.
Nope.
At 47 right now. And then as far as the schedule for the PBC that was announced, I think that most of the fights are okay, but I agree that probably the best one on paper they scheduled is either between Stevenson and Jack or the Lara Hurd fight. But as far as I think it was Georgie that just said right now that he thinks Lara's going to win that fight. I don't think so. To me, Hurd is a bigger, stronger version of Alfred Angulo, and Alfred Angulo gave him hell in that fight.
Well, that's true, Nacho. Hurd's got he's got the youth on his side, but does he have enough experience to cause Lara problems?
I think he does. I think he just showed it in his last fight against Austin Trout. Austin Trout's very similar to Erislandy Lara. I don't think Lara is that much better of a fighter than Austin Trout, to be completely honest with you.
The only thing that Lara does differently than Trout is Lara moves constantly.
Yeah, but I think the fact that Hurd is a huge junior middleweight and he can take a punch, and he also He walks people down. He's a very, very tough out from that standpoint. He's a very, very tough out from that standpoint. I think it's going to be really tough for Lara to win that fight, especially considering Lara's 35 years old and he's not very active. So at this point, I think everything is in Hurd's favor. I think Hurd ends up winning that fight.
Yeah, so, Eric, when you were announcing the schedule, you thought Lara would win this fight. What do you think about what Nacho's saying here?
I still think Lara wins the fight. Yeah, I think that Lara's a little bit too experienced, little too slick. I'm not overly impressed with Hurd. I'm just not. But again, man, he beats Lara. Hey, you got to take a look at it and say, hey, this guy might be a good prospect, good guy, man. He's a champion. He looks good. He's looked good in subsequent fights. There's just something about him that I think is lacking. I think it may be the experience. Suleiman's in the chat, and I asked him what he thought about Errol Spence. I mean, because he was really critical of Errol Spence prior to the Peterson fight, and he said that he's really improved. I mean, so he saw the performance, said that he really improved. And so again, man, I think that's kind of where I'm lying with Jarrett Hurd to draw a parallel here, because again, Jarrett Hurd hasn't really shown me much. I haven't seen a whole lot out of him in the sense that I don't know that he can beat Lara. But if he goes through and wipes Lara like Spence did, I mean, hey, I think that we may be looking at something here special. So.
Yeah, I'm not honest. I'm just honestly not really sold on Lara anymore. Mm-hmm. I think he's just been a guy who's been given a lot of very soft defenses.
Yeah,
and he's held on to that belt for a while. And I think this is just the wrong type of guy, because to me, he's just a bigger, stronger version of Angulo. And when Angulo fought him, he gave him hell. He walked him down. He never really gave him time to breathe. Never really gave him time to just kind of walk around the ring with without a punch being thrown in his face, because that's what it was. He was constantly getting hit. He was constantly getting hit and attacked. And I just think Hurd is a very aggressive guy who likes to walk people down. The first 5 or 6 rounds, Lara might be able to get away with moving around the ring and sticking and moving. But I think as the fight goes on, you're going to see that Hurd's pressure eventually is going to break him down, and I think he stops him. But that's just my opinion. As far as Georgia was talking about the Spence Ocampo fight.
Yeah.
And you mentioned everything about the rankings. I've seen Ocampo fight. He's a decent fighter, but to be honest with you, I would hope that his promoter would be smart enough not to serve him up to Spence, because that kid's not ready. He's only 22 years old. He still needs at least another, in my opinion, he needs at least another 4 or 5 fights in order to prove that he'd be ready for a guy like Spence. He's a very good prospect, but he's not a contender at this point. And that's why he wanted the fight against Pomerov, to kind of show if he was even on that level as far as like beating a guy like Pomerov, who's also a highly touted prospect. But apparently Pomerov's people pulled him out at the last minute, saying that they weren't comfortable with Pomerov having to go to Mexico to fight Ocampo. And so that's why Ocampo was listed as being the number 3 guy instead of Pomerov, because they were supposed to fight for the number 1 contender between those 2 guys, and Pomerov pulled out, and there was no legitimate reason other than his management said they didn't feel comfortable with him going on the road having to fight Ocampo. But I mean, if the fight happens, then it is what it is. I think Spence beats him relatively easy, because I don't think that kid's ready. He's a decent fighter, but he's not ready for a guy who's on Spence's level right now. Right. And I was going to talk about the fight coming up this weekend, the Top Rank card. Mm-hmm. That's an okay card, but I think all the guys who are, the champions should hold on to their belts. I think Ramirez beats that guy. They literally dug up some guy from Ghana I've never even heard of, so he should beat that dude easily. And then Ancajas is fighting another guy who's not really, anything great. So I see him holding on to
I wish Cajas was part of Superfly, honestly, because that's where he belongs.
Yeah, he does, but unfortunately, Top Rank, you know, they're gonna pull one of those. We have a guy who has a belt, and we're gonna give him a bunch of title defenses before we decide to try to, you know, cash him out. Like, that's the only reason why he was supposed to be on the card, but then at the very last minute, they offered him a contract, and the kid signed with Top Rank. So, I mean, at that point, the only person to blame is on Cajas.
Yeah.
Tom Loeffler offered him a spot on the card, and you know, it looked like he was going to take it until he went up and announced that they had signed a deal with Top Rank instead. So, I mean, there's no one to blame except on Cajas and his team. They chose to go with Top Rank. As far as I was gonna bring something up that I still can't believe that guy Jason was right. I mean, because everything I've been reading, it sounds like it's going to be true that Pacquiao is going to end up fighting Alvarado in his next fight, which is just a completely awful fight.
And yeah, that's horrible. And not only that, Bob Arum announced that it would be April 14th, and it's going to be on pay-per-view. Who the hell is going to pay for Mile High Mike Alvarado, for Christ's sake?
Yeah, I mean, that's just awful. So does that mean it's going to be part of the Horn Crawford card? Or is that going to be something?
I don't. You know, that's a good question, because I thought I read that Horn Crawford was supposed to be April 21st.
No, well, they actually moved it up to April 14th.
Okay.
So,
then they both might be on pay-per-view then. Oh, God.
Jeez, wow. That's just terrible. I can't believe they're going to actually put that on pay-per-view. And I was just thinking about something. You guys were talking about Andre Ward. I saw the Instagram post the other day where he showed himself being bulked up to about 200 pounds. And he even said that his trainer, Virgil Hunter, has basically dismissed any idea of him fighting at cruiserweight and just trying to fight guys at heavyweight. And to be honest, I don't see Andre Ward fighting guys like Joshua or Wilder or Tyson Fury. He's going to fight guys that are closer to his height because he's only 6 feet tall. He's going to probably fight guys like Manuel Char, I'm trying to think.
Wouldn't Parker be his size, or is Parker too big?
Parker's bigger. Parker's 6'4".
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to try to fight guys in that range, though, Robbie, like the guys who are between 6'2" to 6'4". I don't see him fighting the monsters that are like basketball power forwards. I don't see him fighting those guys, even though his trainer has.
What would be the purpose, though, Nacho, of Andre coming back to fight heavyweights when it looks like all the title belts are going to be around somebody that is not his size?
To be honest, I think it's just he's trying to pull a Roy Jones. He just wants to say that he fought at heavyweight and you know, maybe he beat somebody like Char has a secondary belt. And so if he fights a guy like him and beats him for his belt, then he's going to try to claim that he won a title at heavyweight, just like Roy Jones did when he beat John Ruiz back in 2004. So I honestly think that's all this is. It's just a way to quote unquote add to his legacy and claim that he went up to heavyweight and beat somebody for a title.
I suppose that's possible. I mean, if he wants to fight somebody more his size, wouldn't a guy like Tony Bellew make more sense?
It would, but the problem is that he's not willing to stay at cruiserweight. He's obviously trying to be a small heavyweight.
Well, no, Bellew's a heavyweight because Bellew's going to supposedly fight David Haye for a second time.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that fight. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Robbie. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess you could make that fight and you could probably make money in the UK, but in reality, what does that fight do for Andre Ward? He beats a guy who's a small heavyweight, but doesn't have any kind of like recognition, you know, outside of like the boxing public, you know? So yeah. I just personally think this is all like he's pulling a very Floyd Mayweather-esque move where he's going to move up to a division, beat some guy for some belt, and then claim that he was a heavyweight champion. That I think that's what this is, because why dismiss cruiserweight if those guys are pretty much your size, even with you bulking up to 200 pounds? Like, to me, Andre Ward's not bigger than Usyk or Reedus or Dorticos or Garcia, the guys that are like the big names at cruiserweight. So I just find it very ironic that his trainer says, "Oh, we're just completely skipping cruiserweight and we're going to go out and fight in the heavyweight division." But you're not going to beat any of those monsters that are 6'6", 6'7". Like, that's a complete mismatch. You're not going to beat those guys. So I don't buy this whole story of he's going to fight at heavyweight. He's really not. He's going to pick and choose.
Yeah, and who knows?
At heavyweight.
Yeah, who knows what he's doing?
So then he can turn around and claim.
I mean, he could just be trolling everything.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Because there's really no money anywhere for him unless he fights some of the big names. There are no big names. There are no big names for him to fight that are good. That is, you know, I mean, again, you can't. He's not going to fight Joshua. He's not going to fight Wilder. You know, and cruiserweight, they just don't have any big names. What are you going to do? I don't know. That's my take on it, though. All right, Nacho, man, we're going to go ahead and get running here. We appreciate the call, man. Call back next week,
All right,
man.
thanks.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, see you later.
Sure.
All right. Let's go back to the news real quick, and then we're going to go back to the phones, and hopefully we can wrap this up by 9. Roy Jones will fight on UFC Fight Pass. The UFC has been talking about getting into boxing, and apparently it has. Roy Jones Jr. will be fighting on UFC Fight Pass. The Fight Pass is a monthly subscription service by the UFC. It's like an on-demand for the UFC, but they also have live events on there too. So there you go. Beeb, it's time.
All right. See if Brianna's up for the train wreck. Brianna.
She's coming.
All right. She's coming.
All right.
Hurry up.
Oh, look at Beeb. Just
hurry up.
Round. What are you doing?
Ready? Go.
49-year-old.
There you go. Floyd Mayweather Sr. in trouble with the law this time. He allegedly punched a woman. TMZ reported this week that Floyd Mayweather Sr. was accused of punching a woman after the Triple G Canelo fight. Mayweather has turned himself into the police and pleaded not guilty. The woman was hospitalized with minor injuries. So not looking good. Not looking good. And as mentioned before, Joshua and Parker, more than 70,000 tickets have been sold for Anthony Joshua's return to Cardiff just hours after going on sale. Tickets went on sale, let's see, for the unification bout with Joseph Parker at Principality Stadium on midday on Tuesday. Within 5 hours, they had sold that many tickets. So just a crazy number. Crazy number. 70,000. Let that sink. Amazing. Yeah, exactly. 718, you're live.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Good evening.
Hey,
fellas.
we're good.
Suleiman, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, listen, you know, I'm calling first thing to apologize. You know, I didn't mean to be disrespectful last time, but you know, I just wanted to express my opinion as a boxing fan, as a true boxing fan. I mean, that fight, Peterson came in fantastic shape. I mean, he gave 110% of his ability in that fight. I mean, he checked the kid, but the kid was squared away. The kid has been sitting on a sofa, but that sofa was in a boxing gym. He was doing his time in the boxing, improving. The kid his defense was tight when he fought Peterson. Peterson was trying to get some inside and hurt him, but couldn't. Okay, he was aggressive still. He tried. Peterson did a fantastic job. I don't think Peterson should retire, and that's why I think I applaud his trainer for stopping the fight, because he could still improve from that fight. Okay, and that fight he learned a lot. They both learned a lot from each other, and we got to see a beautiful fight. It's true the odds were against him, but he did beautiful, man. To me, he's a warrior, because he went in the ring against the best guy, one of the best welterweights, and Errol Spence applaud him because he took a fight like that. And you notice in that fight, he didn't change his style. He fought southpaw all the way through. I like that. He fought his true style. You could see that ever since he became champion, he has improved drastically. He's not throwing telegraph body shots anymore. When he attacked Peterson's body, the shots were more more concise. So you could tell his trainers are working on him in the gym. He's putting 110% in the gym. That's why I like to see champions that like that. So my opinion on Evo Spence now has changed because I have seen that he's doing time in the gym, but I still like Peterson. Peterson has improved. Like you said, like Beeb said, they both have the same style, but at the end of the day, one guy was a little bigger and had a more sweet style in the ring. Okay, so I don't mean to offend anybody about that, but I still think that Lamont Peterson could get a belt. Lamont Peterson could get a rematch with Lucas Matthysee right now. They both just came from a fight, signed for a fight, and do that fight. Also, that title, everybody's trying to put a blemish on that title, but what I understand is, I think it's a good idea, in my opinion, for the WBA to have this extra belt because they get more revenue and sanctioning bodies, and they produce a better crop of fighter. Because once you got that belt and you got that WBA regular belt, you're gonna put more 110% in the gym. You're gonna have to you don't have to have no jobs. You could dedicate yourself more, and guys that are on the come up gotta go through you to fight the super champion, which is Thurman. And Thurman is fighting 2 times a year, so that makes it easy for them to create a better season champion. Because a lot of these guys, like this Thailandese guy, was a perfect example of that. He's undefeated, PABA champion. Fights. You guys listening to me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
He's a PABA champion. Okay, he defended his belt a couple of times. Okay, the case from Thailand, came to United States for the first time. Okay, I think he blew up his wad. Okay, he blew his wad in that fight. Lucas Matthysee, to me, he's overachieved by coming to welterweight because he's a junior welterweight. His body is not made for the welterweight division. He's only 5'6", and it showed in that fight. But the guy is very he continued to fight. A lot of guys would have went down to third gear, but he continued to fight, continued to push forward. Okay, and that's what got him the knockout. Okay, he didn't get also distracted by the crowd. So the guy that lost the fight, I think he just blew his quad, ran out of stamina, and it cost him the fight. Okay, plus the crowd affected his performance. The Taiwanese guy. These guys are real emotional when they fight. So now, Peterson has a lot of chances. That belt right there should not be tarnished. He should be treated like a world champion, like a Danny Jacobs. I think the WBA, what it is, that they have a super champion, right? And that super title is for a unified champion, like Anthony Joshua. How you think Anthony Joshua, he can't dedicate himself completely to the WBA because he got other belts. So that belt creates a crop of seasoned WBA fighters. It's true, you have to Keith Thurman should sign a fight with Spence, but he's not available right now. He just came from a surgery. He needs some time, some tune-ups, and when he's available, I'm pretty sure that fight could be made. But availability is crucial in boxing. Okay, Spence should take that number 1 ranked fighter. If the fighter doesn't want to take some step-aside money, right, or Spence doesn't want to pay the step-aside money and fight him, and if the kid is on his A game, because that's what's important now. When you're a champion or you're number 1 contender, you got to be in your A game. This is you got to do your time in the gym. You got to do your road work. You got to dedicate yourself to it. I heard Robbie mentioning that this guy is coming up in weight. Some of these guys, when they become champion, they don't want to do the road work. They don't want to do the dieting. So they like Anthony Joshua might gain a little extra weight, and that extra weight he takes it in the ring. So you might get away with it once or twice, but that could affect your A game, okay? And also could affect his longevity in the fight because that's what happened to Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins used to take care of his body. That's why he was able to be a champion for so long, okay? And this is what affects the game. But I think Lucas Matthysee did a great thing. He shouldn't be treated like anything else less than a champion. And from there, he should continue to fight and keep pushing forward because that's the same belt that Triple G had. He had the WBA regular belt, and he got moved up. So you never know. Keith Thurman might just give up his belt and just dedicate for the WBC, and he gets moved up. Okay, and he gets the chance to defend that super title against other fighters. So, I mean, people say, oh, he might not be the best welterweight in the world, Lucas Matthysee, but he has a lot of good fights coming up in his way. He could have a rematch with Devin Alexander, or rematch with he could fight Adrian Broner, which is both the same size, they're compatible in size. He could fight Sean Porter. Sean Porter's down to get a fight. He could sign a fight with him. And even though the belt is he's the number one WBC, but that belt, create some revenue for that belt. And if he has that belt, then he's the number one online against what's his name, Keith Thurman. So that belt has a lot of significance in the boxing, and we should give it more understanding for that belt, because the regular belt is your number one contender, but it's also a world champion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
right.
the super belt is okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity there. Zab Judah's another one. If he continues to win, they could give him a rematch with Lucas Matthysee. These are fights that you could put on the undercard of any of these fights. And these are fighters that want to eat too. At the end of the day, everybody's talking about venues that Anthony Joshua has. Anthony Joshua is creating a big venue in the UK, and guys need to eat. It's an economical thing. So if I'm a fighter, I'm heavyweight, and I'm looking to make some money, and my opportunity comes up to go to the UK, I'm going to take it. If Deontay Wilder gets the opportunity, jump on that plane, sign the contract, and fight him in the UK. And he's going to make him a better champion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you guys give me more time, I could continue to talk. I got more things to say,
No,
but
we got to get running,
also,
man.
You gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up. We got to get going here. So we got a couple more callers on the line.
Okay, not a problem.
All right, man. Thanks for calling, buddy.
Okay, no problem. Okay, listen, thank you very much. And listen, I apologize. I don't want you to think that I was being fresh last time, but I just wanted to see I think we got from Peterson and Spence, we got to see a lot of things in that fight, and we improved. I mean, they both improved. And I think Lamar still got a lot of opportunities in the welterweight division, and also, of course, Spence does too. And you guys have a great day.
Yeah, in regards to your last comment, no, I never thought you were being disrespectful at all. Not at all.
No, and you got nothing to apologize for.
No, of course not, man. It's never personal, man, for sure. Thought it was a good call.
No.
All right, good deal. All right, let's go to 937. 937. I believe this is Wood.
Yeah, it is Wood. Hello, Wood.
Hey, what's good, fellas?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much.
Not much. I'm not going to keep you guys on here too long. I just was looking at the schedule and just wanted to know what the group thought about. I know right after Broner dropped the fight to Garcia, the immediate criticism or sentiment was that he'd be a gatekeeper, wouldn't be up at the top of any card, in the near future. And now here it is. It looks like he is going to be headlining something. But I noticed that there's no location listed for his fight. So
I think it's in Brooklyn.
I think it'll be Brooklyn.
I think it's in Brooklyn.
That's just my guess.
Right.
I think his name is dead there, man.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, too? You can argue, because we had talked about him being the gatekeeper. Now, you can argue that he is the gatekeeper for Figueroa. Figueroa is the up-and-comer, not him.
Yep, that's true.
That's a solid point. It's just, it kind of,
90 seconds.
Thing that we were saying, and I think Brian was even what Georgie was complaining about with this. It's almost giving it a Harlem Globetrotters, Washington Generals kind of feel. Like you clearly don't deserve that distinction. And I don't know. I wouldn't. And when they showed him on the jumbotron a couple weeks ago at at Barclays, I mean, the dude was booed pretty loud.
60 seconds.
From I'm guessing from his performance, but then also his post-fight comments against Garcia. But hey, you maintain that relationship, and they think they can do something with you. That's fine. But that really kind of keeps me kind of cool. I mean, it's a decent schedule, but I'm more interested. For me, I'm interested to see what some of the other independent guys do and what they have going on and what they're putting in the works. It's a good schedule. I mean, and the Laura Hurd fight is pretty interesting. But I don't know, man. It's just 6 months worth of fights laid out there for us.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I would go along with that.
10 seconds.
What's up with HBO? I mean, the card last night was kind of trash, but
yeah.
I mean, who's doing 2 fights anymore? I mean, that's kind of like 2000 stuff. I think every time we tune in now, we at least expect to see 3 damn fights.
Oh yeah. Well,
honestly,
fights,
I thought Golden Boy could have done a whole lot better job with that card last night.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I said it when the card was announced. It was a garbage card, man. It wasn't a good card when it was announced. You know.
True, I agree, but like I said, it's just who was that? Nacho a few minutes ago said there was some interesting fights on the card. You tell me you tell me that they couldn't have thrown one other fight on there to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, because look, like Showtime or not, every time they put a card together, they have at least 3 or 4 fights on there.
But then they have the show Extreme showing the undercard. So why HBO has not evolved at all. They are so far behind the times, man. It's crazy.
No, I don't know what's going on over there. I've heard financial excuses and this, that, the other. Well, it's simple. Either show that you're committed to the sport or get the hell out at this point.
Yeah, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, because I was always a big HBO fan, and I think I've been rocking with Showtime. I switched over to Showtime maybe 2 years ago, and it was just like every time I'm sitting there watching HBO cards, just all the excitement and all the innovative stuff was happening with Showtime. So, you know, I forget what night it was specifically, but after that I was like, man, I'm done with HBO, and it's ridiculous now. But before I go, and maybe I don't know if Beeb might have talked about it already, but this whole putting your power hand in front of it as your lead hand, it just seemed like the stupidest discussion to me. I mean, it's almost like the West Coast offense or something, you know, cover 2. I mean, it's a couple of guys that are going to make it work, but
yeah,
it's not like that style really benefited Hester the other night.
Very few and far between. Very few and far between.
That whole discussion was a waste of time. I think it was a point where HBO was basically trying to fill airtime because they didn't like what they were seeing and they were trying to keep people interested. I think that's the only reason why they started that discussion. You can't make up for garbage on your TV screen.
The dude had like one, maybe 2 punches at the most with his right hand being in the front, and it's like it was almost stupid for Roy Jones to even keep entertaining the conversation with Lampley. Like I said, it was almost like looking at something on a video game where just because it's your strong hand, we automatically give it a 100, and your offhand, we give it an 80 or a 75 or something. It's a lot more that goes into somebody being able to be, you know, to have some skill to be able to pull that off.
Yeah. And back in the day, most of the time, if a guy walked into the gym and he was a southpaw, they just converted him to orthodox because they felt as though if he stayed southpaw, he'd have a hard time getting fights, because back in the day, a lot of people avoided southpaw fighters, and that was the main reason why it was done. You know, there have been a few guys like Michael Moore who actually was orthodox, and he was converted to southpaw, but that's just because he was better in the southpaw stance. But it's like some guys like Manny Pacquiao just fights better in the southpaw stance, but he's a natural righty. He writes with his right hand. It's just, you know, it all depends what you're more natural doing. But a lot, like I said before, a lot of times they took southpaw, like Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto were natural southpaws. They took them out of that stance, and they just wanted them to be orthodox. You know what I'm saying? And that big reason, like I said, was just because no one wants to fight southpaws. So But it's different nowadays because now there's a lot more southpaws now in the sport of boxing than there was back in the old days. There's a lot of southpaws now.
Right. And before I go, I did get a chance to download because I was actually at the airport last week when you guys were doing the show. So I just want, hey, Beeb, I give you a lot of props, man, for your thoughts on Robert Easter Jr. I couldn't agree more. I mean, his fights are starting to become like Nas albums. I got to explain to everybody why it's a good album because I like Nas a lot. And it's almost like with Robert Easter Jr., we have to like defend, why he got his hand raised in some of these fights. And he's a guy that I think I'm going to keep an eye out on. I know Broner is switching trainers, although I'm not sure Cunningham is the right move. But
yeah, I don't know about that either.
Just if Robert's gonna step in there with the other elite guys at 35, or if he goes up or whatever, he's just gonna have to add some new wrinkles to his game.
Yeah, he's gonna make a decision on how he wants to approach these fights, man. Does he want to, be a boxer, or does he want to be a slugger? Because I know he wants to be entertaining. I know he wants to, put on a good show so we can get other fights down the road. But at the end of the day, it's about winning. And if that's what you want to do, you got to, make sure you give yourself every chance possible to win. And by fighting an inside fight when you're 5'11" against the guy who's 5'7", that's not giving yourself the best chance to win, in my opinion.
Right, and some of the shots that he caught going inside, if that would have been a blow from Garcia, from Mikey or something, we're looking at a much different result probably in him dealing with multiple shots, left hooks and whatnot from that. But hey guys, let me get off of here, man. I know you guys are running late, so we appreciate what you do. I messed around and missed the Despacito performance on the Grammy, so I'm all pissed off now, man. You guys take it easy.
All right, man. Good call, Wood. All right, I think this is Corey. 8:04.
If it's 8:04, it's Corey.
We're limited on time, Corey, so make it quick.
The best for last.
That's
You're
right.
always limited on time when I call in. Goddamn.
Because you're always late.
Because you always call in at 9:30.
I know. He calls in at 10:05, talking about, I don't know why I don't get more time.
I've been on hold for 37 minutes. What the hell, man?
He's been on hold for 37
I'm just trying to get
minutes.
a fair shake. You rushed me off because you don't want to hear me. But it's all good. I'm going to still talk.
We don't want to hear the truth,
look,
Corey.
man,
That's what it is.
I've been talking to y'all about the whole Eubank situation, man. The Eubank situation. I honestly think Alexander Eubank should be pound for pound #1, man. If not now, definitely after this tournament is over. And I think that he's doing what he has to do to climb the ranks. And I think when Alexander Eubank gets in the heavyweight division, which he's already called out Anthony Joshua, I think when he gets into the heavyweight division, he's so masterful and skillful, he's gonna walk through these fucking heavyweights. And I'm not talking walk through meaning knock them out. I mean walk through meaning depict them the hell apart. Beebs, I think you did a special on Al Heyman, a 17-minute special without the whole team. You did it when you were in the gym. I think you should do a special on Eubank, man. I think that guy needs a real good big shout out from this show. I think he deserves his own little, intro because what he's doing has never been done before. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the amount of pro fights he's had, and he did not have a hiccup yet like Lomachenko did. Lomachenko is pretty much they're in the same, they coached by the same guy. They're around each other all the time. They do the same training drills. I think, me personally, with the opposition that Eubank faced so far, I think that Eubank has better competition that he faced more than Lomachenko. That's my personal opinion. So I definitely think, because I've heard you talk about Eubank before, Beebs, and you're starting to get more knowledgeable on Eubank now. So I think it's time for you to make your own little, you know what I mean? But that's a whole nother thing. That's on you, whatever you want to do. But I mean, I think he deserves a praise. Never been done. This guy's gonna hop up. This guy's gonna hop up from cruiserweight to heavyweight, and I really think he's gonna make a mark, man.
Listen, I don't want to.
He's gonna make a mark, man. I think
I'm the last one. I'm the last one to brag on myself, you know, or anything like that, or toot my own horn or anything like that. But Beeb, who picked Usyk to win the World Boxing Super Series?
I think we all did, didn't we?
I think I did.
You did, but I think we all did.
I think I'm the one that picked him.
Yeah, we all did.
No, you didn't. Robert, you didn't
Eric,
do it. You only picked him after I picked him.
that was a good pick, Eric.
That is. Just saying.
But you have been following these cruiserweights a little bit closer than we have.
On TV, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Eric really has been following this tournament closely, and I give him credit for that. He's you know, hooked me up to this tournament, made me a little bit more interested in it, more so than I had previously. So I got to give him credit for that.
Right.
I mean, I watched about 8 streams last night, but I mean, I finally got to the end of the match, and I mean, it was awesome. It was a close fight. You know, that's what happens when you're going up against champions. You know what I'm saying? And whoever wins between the Gassiev fight, you know, which I got Gassiev winning by knockout, and then when Gassiev beats Doritos or whatever the hell the dude's name is,
yeah,
Cuba. When he beats him, you know, him and Usyk, Gassiev versus Usyk would be a great matchup. You know what I mean? It's top.
Doritos.
Call them Doritos.
Oh God.
You got power versus skill, and I honestly think that, you know, I think Usyk's gonna put on a boxing clinic against Gassiev. Abel Sanchez can say what he wants. He's gonna probably be like he was running the whole night because he's using his fucking legs, and that's the same thing he said about Anthony Jacobs. I mean, Jacobs when Jacobs fought Triple G, I thought Jacobs won that fight. You know, many people, you know, could go both ways. It was a fight like that, but Abel Sanchez is Gassiev's trainer. I guarantee you, mark my words, when Usyk beats Gassiev, he's gonna say he was running all night, and that's not running. That's boxing. That's not running. And the whole Spence Jr. Deal is pretty much, I got, you know, Earl Spence. You know, he's been doing this thing for a long time, and I think he's going to continue to do his thing. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the best, you know, up and coming fighters. You know, but at the same time, I gotta defend my boy Keith Thurman. You know, this guy's arm was purple last month from a surgery that he got done. He's being a realist when he's telling y'all that he's not thinking about Earl Spence right now. He's also said in another interview that nobody talks about. He said, "I like to talk about what's gonna happen next. I don't like to talk about what's gonna happen. You know, what's gonna happen in the future, because he's like, you know, future fights, a whole lot of things can happen. People are already talking about Spence versus Crawford, but Crawford has to fight Jeff Horn, a live dog, in my opinion. We don't know what Crawford can do at 147. He's not proven at 147. So for everybody to look past a guy that beat Manny Pacquiao is blasphemous. You got to give that man credit, man. Anybody that puts on them boxing gloves, you got to give that man credit, man. I got Jeff Horn. You know, he's a good fighter. I don't know if he's gonna be able to win per se, but I got him. You know, making a fight out of it. I got him at a better chance than Terrence Crawford's last fight against Ndongo, which was a champion as well.
Yeah.
I got the Jeff Horn Crawford fight. Being more competitive than Crawford's last couple fights. I got it more competitive than the John Molina fight as well.
It'll be interesting to see if that power goes up with him, you know?
Yeah.
Like you said, he's unproven, and that's a great point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the whole thing about Matthysee, we don't really know what Matthysee, you know, is really looking like now. He went up against an undefeated, you know, Thailand fighter that's like 38-0, But the only thing is, he was a lot bigger in the ring, and he did have a good, strong 1-2, but that was all he had was a 1-2. I studied him. All he had was a 1-2. He didn't have anything after that. I seen him barely get by the mediocre fighters in Thailand. So for HBO to telecast that, yeah, he might have won 2 or 3 rounds, but did you come over to win 2 or 3 rounds, or did you come over to take over? You're fighting for a belt. I feel like the last knockdown was a joke. HBO's fucking CEO needs to be fired. HBO's doing a horrible job. Showtime is actually finally, Showtime is finally taking over, man. Showtime is really taking over, man. You know, the whole, Canelo versus Triple G on HBO, that was good, you know what I'm saying? Doing their thing. And then you had, you had the whole, you had, different other fighters that were on HBO. But, I honestly think 2018, you're going to see a big divide in HBO versus Showtime, man. I honestly think ESPN with Bob Arum is doing better than HBO right now. I think ESPN right now is doing better than HBO, and you have to pay extra for HBO than ESPN. So you're paying extra for HBO boxing, but are you really getting your money's worth? Because you're damn sure getting your money's worth over there at Showtime.
I tell you what, you got a great point there. You look at the ESPN card.
I know. What'd you say?
I say you look at the ESPN card this weekend with Gilberto Ramirez and Jerwin Anacajas. I'd much rather watch that card than the card we saw last night. By far. That's a great point, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, that's what I'm saying, Eric. When you're putting in guys from out of town, from like out of the country, and all they fought is the competition from out of this country, you don't know what bar to put them on. You got guys like Manny Pacquiao that fought a lot of his fights out of the country before he came to the United States. Then he got his one shot at the United States and struggled. And this is another thing, y'all. I have nothing against Freddie Roach. I think Freddie Roach's time as a trainer is up. It's up. It's up, man. It's up, man. It's up. I don't know if it's the disease that he has now, but Freddie Roach, I feel like he's slowly losing it. Definitely with the boxing trainer. Does he even hold the mitts anymore?
I don't know. I don't know if he does or not.
I have no idea, Corey. I have no idea.
I'm being completely honest with y'all because I seen Freddie Roach in the interview, and I did not like the way he was talking and the way he was, his whole gesture was.
I know he's sick, and he's been sick for years, but I don't know if things have gotten worse. I know he's got to take tons of medication, but really,
yeah, that's what I'm saying though.
But really, since he owns the Wild Card Gym, I don't know how much work he actually does there. I know he's there all the time, but since none of us are there, it's hard to tell what kind of work he actually does in the gym these days.
Georgie in the chat just said Corey's picking on sick people.
Before I leave, I gotta say though, man, the whole heavyweight division, man, is looking pretty hot right now, man. I think it's really hot, and this is the honest opinion, man. I gotta go back to the Eubank thing, man. I think when Eubank finally wins that whole cruiserweight, the Ali Trophy, and he holds it up, he already made it a fact that he's moving up to heavyweight. He's already made it a fact. Now, I don't know how y'all are dissecting Eubank because he doesn't, well, I'm not going to say he doesn't have power, but he hasn't showed power. The way he boxes, it doesn't warrant a whole lot of power. Obviously, it was a pretty good fight. I mean, I think the Eubank versus Reedus fight was way more compelling than the whole HBO card. The whole 100%. HBO couple of cards they put on. And the whole Reedus and Eubank fight wasn't even telecast like y'all were saying. And I mean, you know, we had the stream, you know, you got, you know, it's just a whole bunch of shit. But I think Usyk will fare good against Deontay Wilder. I'll pick Usyk over Deontay Wilder right now, actually. Deontay Wilder has a strong right hand, but what about his left? He's got a strong right hand. What about his left? Usyk is a strong southpaw with a strong right hand as well. Y'all have to do your research. Usyk won the heavyweight gold in the Olympics. And then he fought about 9 fights on the World Series of Boxing, which doesn't count. He beat the guy George Joyce, which got the silver medal, and he's in a super heavyweight. You got to do your research. All his World Series of Boxing fights were all in the heavyweight division, and they were all without headgear. And they got paid for it. I classify those as fights. You know? And that's my call, man. Y'all have a wonderful night. God bless.
Corey.
See you, Corey.
Perfect. Corey, man. He brought up some really good points, and I tell you what, I don't hate Usyk versus Wilder either if Usyk were to move up. And it wouldn't take much for Usyk to move up, quite honestly. So there you go. Good call by Corey, man. He brought it. Look at that. Jason is in the chat. He said he wanted to call back. Unfortunately, phone lines are closed, or fortunately, as however you look at it. Phone lines are closed.
Yeah, they're closed.
Look at Robert.
And only one call per show, brother.
So, Beeb, Jason is spewing his venom out at you, saying that Dan Raphael was lying going back to this, and he'd already mentioned this. I don't know if Jason knows. Oh, my God, here we go again. This on the last show. Beeb admitted he was wrong. It was he said $3 million. He got 1.2, whatever the case may be. Beeb said he was wrong. So, Beeb, care to respond to this at all?
It was fake news.
It was fake news. There you go.
I admitted he was right.
There you go. Look at that.
But he did not admit I was right that Peterson was going to be a one-sided fight and was going to get stopped. So,
there it is.
I didn't get the same respect reciprocated back to me, but
he did not. He did.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you know, we're not afraid to.
Programming note, everybody. We'll be on early next week.
Thank you, Robert. I was just going to go to that. Next week for the Super Bowl, we'll do our show early, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So somebody from the UK had asked us, you know, are we going to do an early show sometime, or, you know, he always catches it and he wants to call in. It'll be 5 p.m. in the UK, maybe. I think it's 5 p.m. depending on, I'm sure, where you are in the UK.
Yeah, it'll be 5 p.m.
5 hours. But 5 p.m. in the UK, 12 p.m. here Eastern time, 9 o'clock on the West Coast, Robert. How about that?
That's correct.
There it is.
Yep.
And that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810 and leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.